Welcome to another edition of Set the Trend, the podcast that chronicles street sounds and DJs' histories from late 1970s right up until the present day. And I have my host with me today. Host? No, co-presenters. I nearly got that wrong again, didn't I?
Yeah, the Django's.
Yeah, okay. I've got my co-presenter.
Speak for yourself, man.
You can see where this podcast is going today. Yeah? I've got my co-presenters with me and my fellow colleagues. Reggie Heavy Styles. How are you, sir?
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Okay, are you all right? Because you was in France last week.
Yeah. I learned a bit, that's all I learned.
You learned the new word, yeah, you learned the new word. Cool. Okay. And also, our other colleague who's well branded, as he is every week, the Rare Groove legend himself, Michael Fontaine, aka Mr. Eastender. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Nice to see my people around me.
Good. So I hope they stay your people by the end of the
I'm sure they will.
That's the big issue, right? Okay. Well, we shall see. So today, I'm so glad to have these guys in today, and the lovely lady in today. Because when we discuss the culture, we also like our guests to provide examples of how they change the game. So for example, a DJ can be a DJ, but the difference from them just being a DJ on a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain, is what you've brought to the game. How you've changed the game within the culture, maybe on multiple occasions. There are levels to this. And our guests are the first marketing team from any UK record company, and indeed Europe, to have a direct responsibility for marketing and promotion to the streets. So my 5-star generals today are Redz.
What's happening? How are you?
Our soca presenter. You see, he gets around this.
Multifaceted.
Inside soca.
Inside soca.
Inside soca.
Coming soon.
Jasmine. Hi. The lovely Jasmine.
Thank you.
The first lady street teamer. Official, isn't that right?
Pretty much, finish, yeah.
Hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
Yeah. The proper title.
Thank you.
Aitch, resident and all-round troublemaker, new attraction cheerleader.
Wow. You're gone too far, man.
And the head honcho, the man responsible for starting the street team and putting the street team together, Martin Moulton. How are you, sir?
Hello.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, good to be here. Really
Is this your first official interview as a street team?
This is our first official interview.
And this is,
It really is.
right?
It really is. We did maybe a little bit of press once. Yeah. That picture that you always send me.
Give us the
on
props,
my birthday.
man.
I
Give
love
us
you
the props.
for.
Give us the props, man.
You've got it. Officially, like, having us four sit down officially in an interview setting, this is the first
Time ever. Ever.
And this is kind of a reunion for you guys from BMG Records, isn't it? Because you've gone your different ways.
I'm going to keep it real with you, no?
We see each other
do
and
it?
stuff.
All the time.
Yeah, but not as a street team.
Well, nah. But we weren't that, most of us weren't that beforehand. You understand? So, like, H and Jasmine are literally my day ones. Like, don't get it twisted. Like,
So he's your day two. So
I'm like the stepchild. It's fine though. It's fine.
if unfortunately for Redz, in order for Redz to have been my day one, he would have been 10 years older than he is. And
There you
that's the
go.
reality.
I'm the young
baby.
guy.
And he's the baby of the bunch.
That's right.
He's the baby of the bunch and came a little bit later, but you know, obviously his way was completely in tune with what we were, you understand, and it worked, and literally that's why we've kind of been together. And I like to stress this: we are friends and family, you understand, first.
I like that.
But before even street team.
But pause that there, because we're going to go into that. More how you will work together to provide us with the music that we got over the years. My first question though, you heard me refer to the word street team. So my first question would be, were you responsible for bringing sexy back?
No, I'm going to tell you what the street team was. And
Street team as in the word street team. Because remember before, street team was it wasn't a very friendly name to anybody else but the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of that being used on a corporate level and amongst others, when you came with the word street team, you were, to my mind, you were responsible for making, that was the start of it now becoming
Cool, credible,
credible, yeah,
acceptable
cool and
on a
everything.
corporate level.
I think we got to look at the 90s as a whole. And if you look at music in the 90s, you know, 91, 92, you still had the layover from the 89 kind of hip hop that was fragmented production. The R&B didn't really know where it was going, and so on and so forth. About 92, 93, when you had albums from, I guess, TLC, when you had the first Mary J. Blige album, My Life, and stuff like that. When those were pivotal moments, because those albums changed how we view R&B. You understand? And let's talk about a band that's really important to the scene, Jodeci.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Jodeci was a benchmark band, yeah? But what did Jodeci do? They took the format of the four-man group, you know, which
Dogs,
was,
Temptation,
yeah, exactly.
that kind of group, yeah?
So many of those that we'd grown up with, Barcades, whatever, you understand, and put on Timberland boots. You understand, black Tims, you understand, kept it rugged and rough, and, you know, talked about sex a lot more than, you know, I want to give you red roses. No, you want an F. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, okay, all right, you could say they were a little bit more vulgar, but actually they were just getting to the point. You understand? Luther Vandross and all these great singers had poeticized
Marvin
love
Gaye,
so much. You
yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that it really needed to get to a point of, look, babes, I like you. Let's do the thing, innit? You understand? And Jodeci were that first group, you understand, started by Puff, you understand, to kind of make that statement. And that statement then started to riff amongst the whole of black music. Sorry.
It did, but when you come to the UK, would you say the streets were responsible for Jodeci?
In what way responsible? Because
Not because that group was already doing its thing in America, so we know the vibe was put in America. But in terms of how
The popularity.
the DJs
Yeah.
championed Jodeci and the slow, that was the beginning of slow jams. Really, that was the beginning of that name, slow jams.
Yeah,
with,
100%.
with the group Jodeci. So was anybody else? I don't know if anybody else was. I know there's going to be saying radio stations were playing it. Yeah, I get that.
no one was playing.
Not on commercial radio.
Let's not mince words. And I wanted to
No,
get to
don't
that.
mince words.
Yeah,
We're straight today.
Let's not mince words. No one was playing Jodeci. No one.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah?
answer the question
Simple.
is, yes, the streets were responsible for Jodeci because
Yeah.
the way people would hear it was through pirate radio.
Because no one was playing Jodeci, yet Jodeci came here and sold out Wembley.
Yeah. Remember that? Yeah.
And he sold
Hysteria.
out. You remember the first
Wasn't
Jodeci
it
concert?
Wayne Hector's group, innit? That was supporting
Rhythm and bass. Rhythm and bass.
They were
You know,
supporting.
another Wayne as well, Wayne Marshall, had that
Marshall.
hit,
right.
G-Spot and
G-Spot.
whatever, and that was an important record for me because it made me understand.
Sorry, I've got a dub plate of that. I just thought the only sound to have a dub plate. I thought I'd say
You got a dub plate of Jodeci or a dub plate of
I've got a dub plate of both.
What?
The only street sound to have a dub plate of Jodeci.
Splice.
That's why I put that in there.
He said splice.
Thank you, Martin. I'll pay you later.
I'm not going to let him get away with that.
Don't miss that.
It said it was Splice.
Man said splice.
Yes,
dog.
Splice.
Let's not go there because I've got in a lot of trouble for this splice thing. Don't do splice.
So in terms of sorry to answer it so long, but there was a wave coming, and that's what I'm really trying to say about the street thing. I can't take responsibility for making it cool because the wave was coming for a long time.
Yeah, but nobody liked to. The corporates didn't like to. When you heard streets, it was like, yeah, but we're keeping it hands off. So how do we then?
I think
contact
that
the streets,
You're
because-
talking about two different types of executive. I think you are. You understand? And I've got stories to illustrate those points. Look, I am from where you're from, innit? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I saw how records could work. There was 2 records, yeah, that were really important to me in the 90s that made me understand that we can break black music in this country. G-Spot, Wayne Marshall, and Horace Brown. One for the money. Yeah. Both top 10 hits.
Big tune.
Yeah, both top 10 hits, and nobody has no idea how. You
And
understand?
when you talk about top 10 hits, are you talking about top 10 on a national or?
Yeah, national top 10 hits. Yeah. Listen, first of all, let me just get this straight right through this week. If I'm talking top 10, that's all I'm talking about.
We're not talking
Top of the pot.
I'm not interested in the
music.
Music We Urban chart. I'm not using none of them foolishness. That is not, I want it to be played on Capital Radio like everything else. So let me just, I retract to what it was. So with G-Spot, yeah, Orlando Gittins, salute, you understand, 100% Soul Town. What did he do? He hit the Pirates.
Yeah.
He hit the Pirates. He had a record that was pirate friendly and perfect for the underground sounds. You understand? At that time, he didn't have the restrictions on radio that we have now. You understand? You know, after those times, radio started to put in a policy, a beat policy, where they didn't want anything under 101, 103, whatever BPM. You understand? So a slow jam.
So that was, you're talking about
Mainstream.
who put in that? Mainstream.
Mainstream radio. Mainstream radio. Capital Radio.
So wasn't that a way of
Back in the
alienating
day, yeah.
black music?
Yes. 100%.
100%. So
Understand what you were dealing with. Understand the environment that was created, and understand, yeah, that it's quite easy to talk racism. You understand? I personally have seen and understood that a lot of times racism within music is actually misunderstanding. Yeah, and somebody not being able to say to them, actually, bro, thing, because I actually agree with the beat policy. You understand? And I think that what should happen in radio is that there should be adult contemporary radio stations that play slow jams. Do you understand? Like you have in the States. You understand? You've got. They say here, well, there's not as many people as there are in the States, but there is, and there are, and there's, you know, there isn't physically, but there's 70 million people here, and there's 70 million varying tastes of music. You understand? You know,
I think testament to that is somewhere like Magic FM, which is one of the most listened to stations around
somebody like,
country.
You know,
which
you're gonna
is
hear
mellow
this,
music.
You're gonna hear this name come up a few times in this thing. Jed Doherty was literally one of the best CEOs, MDs that we had. You understand? And Jed would regularly talk to us about, you know, the music market. You understand? And what was an easy listening music is the #1 selling music in this country, no doubt. You understand? But the problem is that easy listening refers to, I guess, people like Alfie Bow and Michael Bublé and stuff like that. Whereas actually people like a Q Harper, I think, could work into that. But
was that your first point of meeting racism in the industry?
Let's get back to that, and I'm going to give you time to answer that. I'm going to give you time to answer that because I knew.
No, you're going to give yourself time.
I can answer that more pertinently than that, because racism in this country alone has been misinterpreted. You understand? I've worked with quote unquote the most racist white people you can be, and then after 2 weeks of working with them, they're like, you're all right, you know. and they're sitting down eating curry goat and rice and peas, and like, yeah, it's good, yeah, and next thing you know, 10 years later, they got a black girlfriend and they're married and mixed race children, and be like, what's that all about? You understand?
So you're
what was that all
a
about?
saviour?
So, no, I'm not a saviour. It's just patience, isn't it? It's just patience. But I want to talk about the 90s because that is super important to why we are here. So the 2 records, Horace Brown, the Horace Brown record, people don't remember the first incarnation of The Box, the video channel The Box. Now, that was when cable was really cheap. You could steal cable from your brethren and your neighbour. You could do all kinds of things. And the whole hood was watching The Box. Because you saw all the American videos and you'd be like,
first
what?
time.
You understand?
Yeah, cable,
and Universal were like, let's put out this one for the money, #2. Straight away, no long thing. big record. He came over, he did the promo.
There was no street team then, was there?
No.
There was nothing.
Okay, right.
But those 2 records, as being an avid collector, you know, like I said, look, Aitch is my day one. Another infamous person is my day one. Is a guy called Jazzy D from Main Attraction. These guys...
New Attraction.
Oh, sorry. New Attraction. Do you know what? I've been calling it Main Attraction.
They've always wanted to be the main attraction.
So many shots.
Sorry, Shot.
Shout out to Shots. So what I'm really trying to say is that I was an avid record collector. I was just a normal Joe. I weren't nothing special. I just used to buy music. Me and Jazzy had a little sound way before New Attraction. You understand? We were called Champagne Roadshow.
That sounds
that's when you don't get the lifestyle. It's still going back to them days. It's still Friday back.
I'm not gonna lie, even when I was young, I hated that name, but it was Jazzy had set it up and I joined him and we did what we was doing. So we were just record buyers. We were the guys that, you know what I mean, the promo guys could fleece and sell us promos for 25, 30 pounds or whatever because they did. Of course we'll go and buy it. You understand? And but I kept on watching the scene and I was a fan. I was like, I want my records on Top of the Pops. I want to see arting. Like, why can't we see that? But you had to just start studying the scene. And from those 2 records, I found out that the Pirates were more powerful than they thought they were. Yeah, and video is key. I'm like, okay, fine. So prior to getting the gig with BMG, what had happened is I was working with a guy called Chris Rockwell.
Yeah, big up Chris.
Big up Chris. Big up Chris. I hope he does a podcast. He's not chatting to me currently.
No.
Yeah.
Another one?
You got one of them.
Through this podcast,
that's
there'll be many.
100%. It's 100%.
Yeah.
Right. That is going to be a running theme throughout.
Try
people not speaking to Martin. Please understand.
Try not. I'm affable, but I'm not going to lie. When I'm angry, I've got a temper. Anyhow, moving on. So,
security.
So Chris Rockwell would come to see me. I was doing some production with a friend of mine, Elliot Patterson. Shout out to Elliot. Man didn't know Elliot. Old school Elliot, as they call him. Basically, Elliot and me were trying to be Timberland. And it was not going to work in a million years, but we were trying. And Chris had come round as this industry guy and come to hear our production. He's going, listen, your production's rubbish, but I got these records. Can you get them to the Pirates? I was like, family, like, I'll just introduce you to a few, man. What's the matter with you? Guy in there he goes, no, but I'm white. I'm like, yeah, Chris, I can see that you're white. You're very big and white. You understand? But, like, fam, go to the Pirates. He's like, no, I need somebody to do it for me. So I was like, okay.
So this is a credibility angle, isn't it?
So, exactly. So he came to me first time. I really took no notice because it was too, like, he can't be serious. And then he came back with some records from EMI, the group called Dinosh. And I was like, are you serious? He goes, yeah, fam. So I started getting them out to some of the Pirates, do you know what I mean? And that Dinosh record, I'll never forget it. EMI released it and it got to like 45 or something like that. So I got a call from Chris. He was like, "It's fantastic! It got to 45. It's amazing." I'm like, "Fam, we flopped, man." Like,
It wasn't a great record.
chatting about.
I always find that ironic when people get happy about a record going in like top 70.
But when I spoke to EMI, the product manager at EMI, he explained to me that most R&B records would eventually end up at 100, 102.
Yeah, I remember.
So something like 45 was good. Amazing.
It was a win.
We're in the 40. I'm like, no, you're not in the 40, but anyhow. So I was like, okay, fine. So we kept on doing our thing. I worked a group called Piece by Piece. Shout out to Piece by Piece. My boys. I worked with them. I got them a top 50. You understand? You man graciously started playing that record for man. And it seemed like, okay, this thing could work. And then
there was a business opportunity here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Or didn't you see? So you didn't see it as a business opportunity.
I tell you when it became a business opportunity. When he gave me the Piece by Piece record, Chris Rockwell. Gave me the piece by piece record, and he looked at my flat. Yeah, and my flat. My friends will tell you, lovely, that it was an unfurnished flat. Yeah, and he looked around.
Looked like a trap house.
And yeah, basically like a trap house. And you know, my son Kamal was about.
Did you say a trap house?
Yeah, he just said a trap house.
I've been to a few, mate.
It was my son at the time was about 2 or 3 years old, and he was running around, and he was like, "Look, I'm giving you these records, but why don't you sell these records, fam? Make some money for your family and rare." And I thought about it for a long time, for a good couple of days. I was like, I'm broke, man. I could use this money. But then I kind of realized that if somebody doesn't take this for promotional use only, not for resale, if somebody doesn't take this seriously once, yeah, we're not going to get in. You understand? And we're just going to be these people just selling promos, you understand, for the highest bidder, you understand, and then when you sell it,
which goes against the company policy anyway.
well, the
going
thing
against
about
the
the selling is that when you sell it and a man's bought it, he can then choose to play it or not. When he gets it free, he knows that's a free record. Let me just try
but
it
also
out.
you, as a company, when they give you promo records, you're not supposed to sell them anyway.
Well, no, you're not supposed to, but there was a huge. Ray, let's not.
No, but
big
we know.
bones
No,
about
we
it.
know. We don't want to mention anybody else who needs to sell promos. There's a link.
but being honest, yeah, a sorry regret of me not selling the promos meant that I put a lot of promo guys out of business. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I regret it, but we had to move on. You understand? And I'm saying it live on thing. I really want people to understand that. I seriously regret that. There's one guy I really want to say, but I won't say his name. He's a really, I consider him a friend. But I had to end his show. Do you understand? And that was because I wanted the pirate DJs to be taken proper seriously. You understand? Like, you are part of this firmament. You understand? You are capable of breaking records. Yeah. The problem with black music, I found when getting into the label, was that nobody in a label knew how to sell a record from 0 to 10,000.
Or nobody knew how to sell
black
black
music.
music from 0 to
to the black scene, how to make it.
And why was that?
Because there was no one focused in on the actual fan base for black music. And the fan base for black music in this country isn't just black, but it's majority black. You understand?
And was
there's
there-
black, there's Greek, there's German.
With that, was there even black people in the labels in the first place to kind of
Yeah,
represent that?
How did the floor look? So when you came into BMG, or Bristol, how did it look? So you came in. Yeah, how white was that? Are we talking about white? Yeah, but how white was that?
100% white?
100% white.
Listen.
Hold on. Did you have a black postman? Was the postman black?
Not even the postman was black.
Oh, my God.
Wow. And all of that.
Yeah.
Remember, June was there.
June was there. June
Sarpong.
June Sarpong.
She was the receptionist.
Talk to the mic, H.
Oh, sorry.
She was the
June
receptionist.
Sarpong and
June
what's my girl?
Sarpong, Sharon Ferreira was
Sharon
the
Ferreira
receptionist.
and
Was Lucia there then?
Lucia was there then, and Pauline Grant was there in publishing.
Sonia was there.
Sonia Skinner was there.
So we had six.
So we had some black people.
Six out of a company out of
And Mervyn.
So out of 550 employees,
Yeah.
there were 8
who was
black
dotted
people. All around the building.
all around the company. So no one. So they weren't. So none of them were focused on black.
Oh yeah, Sam.
So let's say 15 of the
Samantha.
500.
Let's not forget Samantha.
Samantha.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lady Sam.
In accounts, isn't it?
Yeah. Very important lady. Very important.
So
lady.
basically,
Hold on. Don't forget, what was my boy who used to give us the CDs?
He used to give us the CDs.
The red guy.
Do you mean red?
I mean red.
I'm taking it personal, yeah.
What's my guy?
Not Simon.
Wait,
Simon, yeah. Was he there that time there?
Oh, Simon Farr.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simon Farr there. I don't think he was, you know.
I don't think
He wasn't there. He wasn't there, fam.
But anyway, there were 7 or 8. Okay.
I was sprinkling.
At the first time we went in, and it was me, you, and H. That went in first time. There was 5.
Okay.
Christine, and we're missing out Christine. Christine was one of those 5.
So in terms of when you came in for that meeting about the street team,
And
how else would people from the streets have got into that label?
You wouldn't have.
No way.
Well, 7 did.
So I can't tell you. I mean, with something like Christine, where was Christine working in international?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Juliet Joseph was in international, wasn't she?
But they would have probably went the traditional route,
did,
like uni,
Yeah,
intern,
university.
You would got
that.
application form, whatever, and you would have gone in like that. Do you understand?
Yes.
And to be fair, you understand, BMG employed her. You understand what I'm saying? With Mervyn had a history.
And Mervyn
was my boss. Sorry, Mervyn Lynn was when we started our boss. Yeah, so Mervyn Lynn and Jamie Topham ran a marketing department within BMG, which marketed urban records called Word of Mouth.
Yeah, I remember Jamie from there as well.
So Jamie worked in there, and their assistant at the time was June Sarpong. You understand? So they already had their thing, and
So sorry, was that the first of its kind, like black people running a black music department?
No,
marketing
because
department.
Matt Ross,
Matt Ross.
who
Okay.
isn't, I don't know. Let's keep moving. Well, Matt Ross, no, to be fair, Matt Ross and
Go
Mickey
ahead.
Whitfield and
Yeah.
who else? Mickey D and all of that, they were all over at Sony.
Right.
Yeah, they were all at Sony, and Sony were the honchos.
So this is the beginning of
Yeah,
the
understand
record
something. We
labels.
were number 5. No, understand something. Everybody had somebody in
Right.
there. In Universal, it was a lady called Laura.
Yeah.
Do you remember product manager Laura? Laura used to like all the black records.
Yeah.
I don't even want to
Yeah,
diss
but
her like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
She
yeah.
tried her hardest.
Yeah,
I mean,
You're missing Darkest, Martin.
Darkest, yeah. Darkest when we went in. Darkest Bees was at Ireland. Darkest was an A&R. You understand? And it was an A&R not doing much to doing these films.
But
you know what I mean?
before all these names, where's Merritt Crawford coming? Because he was your
He
boss
was
at
your
one
boss.
time.
Yeah, so Merritt was, he ran Hard Zone with Jackie Davidson.
And they were
so
before
they
these
were,
guys.
Exactly.
they were before them guys, and he had, what's his name, who used to run Media Village again?
Shabs.
Shabs.
Used to
They
run.
were the more or less the two
So they were the first.
street marketing people.
They were the
the
first urban marketers. No, they weren't.
Independents,
No,
they weren't the first,
You know,
though.
Nick, a guy called Nick Raymond, who was my A&R, who was my A&R manager. He had an urban kind of marketing thing. There'd always been that. Yeah, don't get it twisted. What we were doing, I'll get to that in a minute. What we were doing, we weren't the first. Yeah, people were doing it. Yeah, I think why we're here and why people know us is because we were definitely one of the best, and we turned it into.
Yeah, but you also made it successful.
Yeah, because we turned it into a machine. You understand? We turned it into, we saw what was going on with the label, and we knew what the label wanted, so we turned ourselves into a mini department.
So before we get onto how you turned it into being successful, I'm also interested in the fact that walking in, the three of you, because they too came.
Yeah.
The baby came.
I was a boy, mate.
The baby came out afterwards. So traditional routes into any company for someone who didn't go the traditional route of uni and internship and everything else was non-existent in all the UK record companies.
Yeah, null and void, and it was non-existent, and it was non-existent for many different reasons. You understand?
Fine, but we can get into that. But what? So that's another game-changing point there. So, in fact of the matter that you opened up avenues, career opportunities in different record companies throughout the UK for ordinary. I don't know what you call black urban
for young black people.
People who like the culture to get in there from non-traditional routes
Exactly.
that had never been done before.
Exactly, 100%.
Like-
And I mean, go on.
Because even for me, this wasn't part of my path. I was at college doing like graphic design and messing about and shit and stuff. So
The podcast, you're lucky. Are you a better designer than J2, by the way? 'Cause I'm looking for one.
Just more reliable.
I'm not getting involved.
He's probably editing that bit out now.
But basically, like, this was not my plan. Like, I loved music, I was into music, I was DJing and stuff like that. But this, when I first kind of did my first mission, which I guess we'll get onto later on, it's like, I was like, wow, this opened my whole mind to a whole new world. And I then had, 10 something more than that year career in the music industry because of these guys. You get what I'm saying?
And Jasmine, how did you become part of this? Well, I know you're day one, so
Yes.
you're the mother of the team.
Yes.
So was that your path going into it, or?
It was and it wasn't. Well, my background with Martin was, back in the day, we used to write rhymes.
Oh yeah.
Exposed,
This was
yeah.
gonna come up. Yeah.
I don't talk about that.
Are we talking that you ghostwrited for him for the mic, or
Yeah.
are we saying that, or are we saying that it was poetry?
No, it was rapping. It was rapping.
Oh, you was a ghostwriter.
No.
There's a Drake moment coming in here.
Ray, you're not getting it right. You're not
Understand.
getting
She
it
was
She
a
wasn't a
rapper, Ray.
ghostwriter.
She was a rapper.
She was a rapper.
Oh, okay, so you were like...
You was an artist.
Now take back the mic.
Come on, but they need to say artist. She
Yeah.
was an artist.
right. And she was ill. Seriously.
Extremely shy, so.
She was kind of...
It was,
You call that-
and
Anyways.
she was you know, to this day, I still think she's had the best hip hop female name ever.
Don't do
ever.
it, don't do it.
I'm
Don't do
not.
it.
Type the
I'm
things, man. You have to
sorry,
type the
it's
things
gonna
on the
come
show.
ahead.
Type the
I'm not
things.
letting them have it.
Yeah,
You understand?
don't do it.
But she had a dope name, and
I've
me
got
and her.
stuff on you, you know, like we can.
No, literally. Look.
No, I've got
go-
stuff on you. So
What?
spill the beans, man. Come on.
Yeah. So.
No. Come on.
I have to spell it. I have to
What
spell
wanna
it.
know?
So her MC name was Rokisha.
Rocky. Ooh.
Ill.
So
And it was ill.
you're responsible for Letitia, Carisha, and
She's got stuff in me.
Wow, Mark, I thought you were stronger than that. You just give it a name.
No, it don't matter.
Damn.
If they
Just help me
do,
out.
there's a thing to come back, and we want copyright and all them things. You understand?
So how did you meet up with mine?
Yeah, what was your role?
You still got it?
I had a name belt with changeable letters. Yeah.
She did the thing.
Yeah.
She did
Yeah,
the
it was
thing.
full
She did the
hip-hop.
thing. She did the
So
thing.
were you two performing together?
We never got to that. We
No.
never got to that. We were recording together though.
Yeah.
We were definitely recording together.
Lost
Do you
archives, yeah?
understand? Yeah. There's some good stuff.
Don't.
Where are they, by the way?
No.
Martin's got them, man.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't
So-
worry about that.
He said he's got an idea, or did he just say that you're part of it?
So
No,
that
Martin.
was like, we were like 14, 15 years old when we were writing rhymes
This
together.
is all our part. But we were all part of the first wave of UK hip hop.
Right.
So
So
we
Demon
grew
Boys.
up with Demon Boys. We grew up with Syndicate.
Yep.
Yeah, we can tell you stories of us walking back from Golders. Where was we? Where was we? Somewhere deep,
Any
like
stories?
Ealing and the bus.
Okay.
Remember 89 bus strikes? The big bus strikes where like you couldn't get a bus. No. Everybody was getting a bus.
Is it supposed to be my age too?
Number 12 and the 36 D were my team. And 171.
Yeah, 171. So we, long story short, Fingers must have had a DJ gig somewhere in Ealing, and there was no bus for us to take home, so we had to walk on the 406 all the way home. It took us about 4 or 5 hours
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We done our thing. We went to Wormwood Square.
Hold on, you actually did that?
Yeah, we actually did that. Me and Jasmine. Jasmine's the only one. She weren't allowed to carry the box. She was proper small then. You understand? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, cool. So we still ain't got. So how did you then become part of? Because I know you were still in contact. But
Yeah.
what was
Yeah,
it?
friends.
Contacts. We've known each other all the time.
Yeah, we've known each other for years. I'm just finish this sentence. But yeah, we were in and out of contact. I kind of went on a different path. I was traveling. We bumped into each other again. Some years later, I was doing something completely different. I decided I was going to do beauty and hair, so I
can see why, but
dabbled
go
in
on.
that. I dabbled in that a bit. But then he told me his
Allow
idea.
that.
There's money to be
Allow
made over here. Yeah.
Allow that. Come over here, please. And you know, I couldn't honestly tell you that I knew exactly what I was doing, but I knew I needed. I knew
Hold
I
on a
needed
minute. Hold on a
to-
minute. You see me now, right? This is one of the things that I love to do on this podcast. How much money did he promise you?
Right, you want to go there? Well,
Let's get it in
That's what
there.
we caught me
It's going to
again.
be a theme throughout.
no, do you know what? It was a love of music, to be fair. I really didn't think I was going to go down that path.
And I mean, yeah, Ray, you gotta understand as well that I'm not trying to dismiss the money conversation at all, but we were. I think even a year in, we were shocked that we were even doing it. You feel me? Like, we were shocked that we could convince labels, whatever, that, you understand? Do you know what I mean?
So when you came into it, now we're on the money, conveniently, what did they say to you? I mean, when you're coming in, because this is the first of you starting your own company, of you going along the entrepreneurial route, yeah? So you've gone in, it's a big bloody label, yeah? It's one of the biggest labels in the world. What kind of artist was you, just at the time, the kind of artist that you would have been, before I go to ask you that question, what kind of artist would you have been marketing at the time? Just name a list of a few of them.
What did we start with? So in Arista, our first record was Angie Stone, Every Day, with D'Angelo.
Just list the artists.
Mace,
Deborah Cox.
No, our first few artists was, it went like this. We had Top 20 with Angie Stone. Mace, Tell Me What You Want was number 6. Yeah, and then Usher, You Make Me Wonder number 1.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
So that was part of your roster. So you're going in to talk about how you can help promote these artists that you knew was already big or getting to be big over in the USA. How did you negotiate? What was the negotiating point of that? So they said they want you to come in. Then how did you say, well, I want to get this? Because at that time, you probably wouldn't have known what anybody else was getting paid.
Well, no, we didn't. And I literally had to come up with, what happened with us payment is that Mervyn just forced me for a figure. He forced me, I tried to hide from him, I tried to work out. I'm trying to get something that everybody can eat. You understand what I'm saying?
To be honest, Ray, we was naive, and they took advantage of us. That's what it was. At the end of the day.
But I mean,
because we didn't know better. We didn't know better.
Yeah.
So, end of the day, Mervyn got what he wanted at the end of the day. The realness of the thing, Mervyn got what he wanted. We was just starstruck and happy to be there. It's only later on down when you really
when
start
people had children
thinking
to
about
feed
things
them
and you realise,
like
hold on.
You realise the money couldn't be
Yeah, the
right.
money's
But
not right.
to be fair,
I never got that.
to
much.
fair,
I'm still getting mugged. Yeah.
anyhow. So
Because you got to remember, they was doing things like, we got to invoice them.
Yeah.
What did we know about invoicing?
Exactly.
Every 28 days.
yeah.
And then Martin was the worst for that anyway.
Oh, yeah.
The worst.
Yes.
Right? Like, Martin, do you put in the invoice? Oh, I forgot.
So was there no one around you, elders, that
No
could-
one.
No one.
No
one,
come
Michael.
to you and give you some
No
advice?
No one.
No one, man.
You got to remember, at that time, everyone was for themselves. Everyone wanted to
What do
keep
you mean?
their
At
job.
that time,
At that
still now.
Oh, that's it. Well, you know
now.
what I mean? Like,
Still
at that
now,
time, we
and-
didn't know any better.
and
Everyone was
it's
for
got-
themselves.
it's got-
Who do you
it
blame for that?
illustrates.
Who
It
do you blame for
illustrates.
no elders being around?
Oh no, I personally think it's nothing about blame. I think it's about this. I'm not industry, yeah? I'm part of this industry. I'm a music industry. I'm a name within the music industry, whatever. But I'm not an industry guy.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm not hanging out with the names. I know them. I'm cool with them. If you see me talking to them, you think we're friends from way back. But I'm not. I'm from the roads, bro. Do you understand?
But that was our disadvantage.
Yeah.
It was
at
our
the time.
exactly.
Right.
It was our advantage to work the records. It was our disadvantage to work our way around the music industry.
But did they take you seriously though? I mean, they
didn't.
invited you up there, but did they really think that you would make an impact?
No. No way.
No.
But what was the environment like in the building? Because I remember the first time I went into the Sony building and feeling like shit. Like
I'm gonna tell you what,
nobody had any.
We were going in there, and what happened is when we regularly started going in, when things started really.
Did you get a
moving,
desk?
Yeah, we did.
We
get
got
a
office.
desk.
Yeah.
We did
But-
get the desk, office, all of that.
Stick up it.
Hold on. Let me just. I want to talk the Zane story. Yeah. So 2 stories quickly. So we're me and Aitch is running around the building, and we've gone to the post room to do something or whatever. We see Christine.
I thought you were the postman.
Christine, God bless you. Christine, God bless you, darling. Like, I'm only telling this story to illustrate how strange it was. So Christine was a black woman. She saw us, and she was like, excuse me. And he was like, yes. Yes.
safest over here.
And she goes, are you here to see somebody exactly? I'm like,
Are you meant to be here?
like she literally
Like, are you meant to be
questioned
here?
us, you know what I mean? And we had to explain Mervyn and whatever. She then went up to Mervyn and said, there's two black boys walking around. You sure about that?
Because obviously you was dressed in the street where at the time you wasn't
Well, what else?
suits. You wasn't in
Yeah.
suits coming in there, nothing
Well,
like
we're
that.
not going to be. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, come here to do work. We're going to be sweating up and posting out these leaflets and these records and all of that. So, yeah, we're doing what we're doing. Then our first real racist encounter was with a gentleman called Zane. Zane used to be the head of facilities. Now, I'm going to say something about Zane, yeah? Like, I'm going to qualify this story with two things. So, we were running around and we were doing our thing, and we must have had the Angie Stone record, we must have had the Mace record by then, yeah? So people were starting to talk about us in the building, like, these guys seem to know what they're doing, whatever.
to make an
So we
impact,
started to make an impact. And then Zane, who was head of facilities, he must have saw us at reception, and he asked us to come to his office. So we've come to his office now, and it's the most sinister meeting I've ever had in my life. My man asked us into the office, and he looked at us, he goes, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know who you guys think you are, you understand? But, you know, we're not used to your sort, innit? Yeah? Do you understand? And we got real stars, like Westlife, and you understand? Like, and, you know, yeah.
So the pop tunes at the time was
Yeah.
Westlife.
Yeah.
Who else was on there?
Westlife, who else was
Remember?
on there? Robin, they'd released Robin.
Robson and Jerome.
Robson and Jerome was on there, just laying over from there, all of that stuff. This is like, yes, this is 100%
Okay.
Simon Cowell's.
Yeah.
Simon, like back then, as we got in, he must have just finished working the Star Trekking record. Star Trekking.
So he was still there when you lot got there.
What do you mean?
He even brought out Power Rangers.
He's still there now. And also Simon was our biggest supporter, fam.
Simon Cowell. So
Understand it.
we're talking about X Factor Simon Cowell.
X Factor Simon Cowell.
Well, Sinisa was his girlfriend, so he understood, didn't it?
I don't think they were girlfriend boyfriend, you know, but they just
Allegedly, sorry, allegedly.
Let's get our lawyers onto that
So Zayn had this conversation with us, and he was saying to us that, you know, I don't know, you know, everybody seems to be saying that you're doing good things and whatever, but you make one wrong move, I'll fucking have you. Straight. Yeah,
Wow.
straight.
And what was your answer?
And our answer to that was, okay, cool, innit? You understand? And we left it,
No,
like
because we
that.
didn't know what to say, but I'm going to do your job.
The reason why I know what. Are we doing something wrong? Oh,
No, go on.
okay. Yeah,
That's the
the
security.
reason why I know why I never said nothing. I know why I never said nothing because I know Zayn, innit? I've met a million of Zayns. I know
It
why.
was something that we was used to at that time. It was something that we
Exactly.
was used to.
And to be honest, I know that me answering you or thumping you up or doing something like that is not going to get me the result, innit? So let me shut my mouth, let you say what you want to say, and then
you
whatever.
short-term result, not
Let me
the
tell you the end story though. Zayn left about 2 years after that. He left after that. That boy, that man made his mission to come and find me, yeah, and say to me that, you know what, I respect what you've done. Yeah, 100% respect what you've done. By the time he
Then
left,
you punched him.
no. By the time he left, there was a black person working in facilities. Yeah, and by the time we left, no, it wasn't even Sean. It was Simon. It was Simon. And even by the time we left BMG, by the time we left BMG like 9. I left 9 years later. And when I left, there was like 100 black youths working for BMG.
So you lot was the start of that movement.
Yeah, 100%.
So-
And I'm proud to say that we were.
I heard you mention a lot of names. David Miller hasn't been mentioned.
That's much later. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
Bad name?
Yeah.
You know
I'm
what?
gonna start something. But you know what? Do you know the reason why I'm not gonna go down that road? Because it's 2000. Hold on. You know the reason why?
No, hang on.
And David Miller is who?
I just asked a question.
Yeah, David
There's
Miller.
some politics behind it.
There is a mad amount of politics behind David Miller. I'm not gonna lie to you. There is.
We'll talk a little bit. Let's
We'll talk a little bit. It will come up as we go along. You understand? But I am gonna qualify this by
hold
saying
on.
one
We direct this. I've got a list there that tells me where to go with this.
David. But I will say one thing.
David Miller made a lot of money out of BMG.
I would imagine so. Yeah, Drum Media. Drum Media were the kind of tour
management. Yeah,
they were a tour management thing, but really they acted as transport for a lot of the in-market visits that we'd have from artists and stuff like that. And I'm going to say something. They were the perfect company for that. You understand? David Miller did a fantastic job.
The connections.
You understand? Any negative I say is a personal negative. You understand? And to be honest, it's 2019. We need to allow the foolishness.
I just called his name.
David Miller went on. He left BMG, went to America, made a lot of inroads and a very good career.
What company is that now?
He's left Atlantic now, isn't he?
Yeah, he left Atlantic and he's just
I
there.
just called his name as a black man in BMG doing good. That's why I mentioned it.
No, 100%. But there was a lot of controversy around that.
So hold on a second. So, I remember. I remember at the time when Merritt first came to me to set up the Def Jam Street team. I think it was a result of you guys.
Yeah.
And we got
fact.
Actually, yeah. So basically, actually, I have to give credit to another lady, a lady called Shelley Waters, because I can't remember how I met Shelley, but I remember remember Shelley, dancer Shelley. So basically, she was the person who actually went out and literally put together a lot of the people for my street team, so I have to give her credit for that.
Was she your captain?
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember her? Yes. Yes. And we had all them dancing boys, Dwayne and a few others. Still got it, yeah? No, So I remember at the time.
I'll talk a story.
So apart from us, who else would you say was a competitor?
All right, I don't think none of you was competing.
All right, targeting.
I'm just going to be real. None of you was really competing with us. But, you understand, out there in the firmament, was obviously Mr. Semtex, Hakeem. I always acknowledge Hakeem.
Sorry. So, Semtex, he wanted to BBC One Extra.
Yeah.
He still does a DJing thing now.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you find working?
And that was Def Jam.
Who is he? Where did Semtex Sony, no?
So Semtex was at Sony when we started at BMG.
Yeah.
You understand?
And Hakeem was where?
Hakeem
East West.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was there immediately.
It was somewhere before.
Universal with me or something like that. I don't know.
Wasn't he doing stuff for Matt White or
I'm
something?
pretty sure he was.
beforehand.
But Questlove. Alright, let's get to that.
Yeah, we know about the backbite stuff.
We'll bring up them secrets soon. But long story short, there was by the time we came out, everybody was out. Yeah, everybody was out, but there wasn't.
So you were the start of the UK street team.
Yeah, and there wasn't, as you alluded to before, there wasn't a set way of how to do it, and we created a set way of doing it. So the blueprint started with you guys. You understand, and you know.
You guys.
Being Pirate Radio.
Sound systems, the street, the underground.
So we created the list. The list was like the most important thing.
Yeah, but I'm gonna...
Right, which is the discussion that I had with Reggie this morning about the list. So you had a radio list, you had a pirate list, and you had a club list.
No.
You may have had different variations.
Different
variations of it.
So the list, when we got into word of mouth, Jamie Topham, like, God bless you, brother. Like, he sat us down. He was like, "Look, this is how I do my thing." Yeah, and he had about 250 guys on his list. Yeah, they were up and down the country.
What kind of list was it?
And a club promotions list. Right. But his list was club promotions and specialist radio.
So there was no street DJ. This is what I want to get to.
There was.
Within pirate radio,
there was. I'll give you a little secret. For my work, I was supposed to do work experience when I was, 15, and I applied to, funny enough, work at word of mouth.
Okay.
But unfortunately, Jamie Topham went on holiday at the time when I was supposed to do the work experience, so I might have actually been.
He did it on purpose.
But as it transpired, I ended up at Hard Zone instead.
Right. So Hard Zone.
So I came through Terry Don, Vibes FM. And that's why that's why he was on the word of mouth list and he was getting records. Because I used to say to him, how come you getting all these promos? I remember going to his house and we were mixing, scratching, and I just saw a whole load of Bad Boy record promos and all these word of mouth, like, you know, Arista promos and everything. I said, hey, you getting these?
The only person who'd cottoned onto it, there's two people who cottoned onto it. There's one gentleman over there, Mr. Eastender, and Ali.
Okay.
Ali was 100% on
Studio
Jamie's
Express.
list. Like we go into
Right,
it.
don't be cheeky. I was on Jamie. Oh my days.
Get him the story about Ali though.
No, Ali, So we approached.
So Ali brought him roses, chocolates, and all them things.
So
I know him.
no,
man.
No, but hold on,
DJs, and out of all you DJs, like,
Ali from Studio Express.
Ali from Studio
Ali from
Express.
Studios, and out of all you DJs, really, the ones I could speak to were probably Ali and Nigel B from Special Touch. Yeah, and Ali, he gave me the nicest. He weren't arguing with me, but he was like, "But Mark, why do I have to be on the street TV list?" I'm saying, well, basically, we're changing things around now and we're focusing more on the Pirates and whatever. He goes, yeah, but I've been on Jamie's for over 10 years. Like, I don't need to kind of associate. And he felt like Jamie would have...
The A-list.
And
you would have the B-list.
Exactly.
So
And we wouldn't,
he didn't want to mess with...
None of you wanted to mess with us, really.
No, I don't.
Immediately.
No, you can't say that, man.
You can't say that.
You can't say that.
I did.
That's how you felt. He can't.
No, that's how he felt.
Not
Well,
really.
I remember we were servicing, man. We was going out and giving.
no.
Not like that. I take that back. We'll take that one back.
Pause it, please.
Yeah.
Pause that.
Was going out giving, man. Wow, I forget. You know.
Service, man.
Wow. Wow.
Moment. Go on, sorry.
Wow. Was going out giving people records. You know what I mean? Physically giving people records.
Now, basically, I mean, I had to literally. It took me about a week to convince Ali that, look, fam, this is gonna be the one. But I had to then make that list. What I said I was gonna make it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I knew that basically slow jams are the bread and butter of this scene. You understand? But they're not. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like mid-tempo R&B, it's just
Soul
as
music.
important.
Soul.
It's just
Yeah.
soul. It's just as
At that
important.
time,
You understand?
soul, it was still
and I
great.
knew, all right, they're not going to release any of the slow jams, but just give them to me, innit? You understand? Just give them to us here. You understand? We'll mail them out. You understand? And we'll use that as a thing to sell albums. You understand what I'm saying? Which made sense. And so when I started thinking like that to a marketing manager or to my boss or whatever, that's beautiful because it's a way of actually dealing with these products that labels couldn't deal with them before. Do you understand what I'm saying? And people like, so your LA Reeds and your Clive Davises and stuff like that would, you know, at the international meetings admonish the English companies because they'd be like, we got all this R&B product and nobody, you understand, you all don't fart on it.
Tell us about the time that Puffy came to England about that same thing.
All right, so prior to me getting the Arista gig, yeah, so prior to me getting this, me and Aitch worked for a friend of ours, one of our best friends called Chris Baxter. He has a hire company called Rocket. Back then it was called Sound Division Hire. He was supplying a set, you know, speakers, lectern,
PAs,
and all of that
PA equipment,
for a music industry conference. So he thought it was a kind of how can I be down type thing. So he was like, Mark, that's you, fam. I'll get you a picture and whatever, you do what you need to do. So he got me a laminate and whatever. I've come to the meeting. I sat down and I'm not gonna lie, I started shaking. Because when the people in the panel came out, it was Puff, Jeff Burrows, Mervyn Lynn, Matt Ross. I was like, what is this? You understand? So I was like, wow, yeah, what's gonna happen here? So I'm sitting here.
And was that the first type of seminar you went to?
Ever.
Okay.
Ever, you know. So I'd gone there, sat down, and it was just a meeting. It wasn't a seminar. It was just a meeting. And when I looked around, I realised that literally every black person who has a job in the music industry is in this room. You understand? Jay Davison. I can't remember.
How do you mean within your record labels or
Maybe even Erskine Thompson. People like real Erskine. Yeah, it's in Thompson.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, you know, and Darkus and people like that.
Lincoln,
Lincoln, definitely.
They were all there.
Yeah, well, you
I
there.
think I was there as well.
Yeah, Untold, exactly. Yeah, so everybody's there. I was I was definitely like people. Somebody might have said to me, "Oh, where do you work?" And I'm like,
Came in the back.
just smiled and whatever. So what was the conversation about? So the conversation, it started off as a Q&A with Puff. Was asking, Mark Tonderai had taken over Tim Westwood's show. So Mark was at the start, at the front of the thing, he's asking, oh, why do you sample so much? I was like, are you a dickhead? Like, you're asking the man about his sampling for. Anyhow, Puff didn't even know how to answer that. He's like, huh? Like, whatever, Puff. After that question, Puff just got up. I said, listen, I don't come here to chat about this, you know. Fam, I make top 10 singles in America. America's a lot bigger than here. And I want to know, how do you make a top 10 record here? And nobody in that room could answer him, nobody. And I listened to the debate and everybody was going back and forth. And then I heard somebody talk about the Pirates. Somebody wants the Pirates, what about the Pirates? And I'll never forget Matt Ross saying, the Pirates, all they do is play slow jams and reggae. You can't get nothing played on there, fuck 'em. You understand? I'm like, oh, really?
And that was the start of none of the mainstream record companies having any respect for.
But they never had, I'm going to be real with you, they never had respect.
No, they never, but that's the first time you heard it.
And the reality, that was the first time I heard that, you lot don't respect things, but you got to understand stuff about life, innit? And I might be saying this in hindsight, so don't read too much into it, but do. The reality is that when you don't know how to do something, then it's shit to you. It's rubbish to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you do know how to lick it and whatever, then it's the greatest thing in the world. And I think that black music, from the time black people were able to get jobs, people like Mikey Roots, who worked in, shout out to Mikey Roots, who worked at Mango Records Island, you know, there's a black man who ran his own label. He had that Break Machine, 1, 2, 3 break record that he released and put into the top, Peter something. He died about 5-6 years ago. But there was lots of, he signed Syndicate the first time and stuff like that. Like, there were black people in the industry, yeah, but they came from
like Danny D.
Exactly, Danny as well, like, Danny is kind of, I'm not going to say he's road, but he understands the road. You understand? He's street, do you understand? And he was, God bless Danny, because he was leaving, Delirious was leaving RCA as I came in. And he was kind of like, he was a little bit pissed off with them, but he was like, fam, you understand, just work hard, put your head down. I believe you've got what it takes to do what you need to do. So long story short, just to answer that question, which I can't remember the question now.
It was
but
Puff. So did Puff then take that more into a label? So this was...
Puff said to them, said, listen.
And he was talking to, at that time, was he talking to his labels?
Yeah, he was talking to
his
labels. He was talking to Merv. Jed weren't there at the time. The MD who was in place when Puffy first started was the guy called Jeremy Marsh. Jerry Marsh quickly left, and then it became Richard Griffiths.
Yeah, but for the context of the viewers, we're talking about a label, so you had Arista there. Who else was sitting within that label?
So within that, Mervin was his direct point, you understand?
No, I'm talking about labels, so you know Arista, BMG, so you're different, so you bought other companies, so was it just Arista?
So because I wanted to correct you on a point that you made before, BMG was never a label, BMG is a distributor, and what BMG did was distribute over 200 labels across the world. Right. A lot of the America was the point for a lot of the parent labels. You understand? So Arista was the parent label was based in America, RCA, so on and so forth. Right. But then BMG, the distributor, would have satellite companies all over the world to release these records. So that's kind of how it works. So BMG was a distributor. So it's very important that we were called BMG, Street Team. So it meant that we could work for Northwest Side, for Arista, for RCA, for whatever. When we first came in, they were working the Wu-Tang record, Wu-Tang Forever, and we weren't allowed to work that, which would have been perfect for us to work. But we weren't allowed to work it because RCA wasn't speaking to Arista at the time. And that was a thing. At Sony, Columbia wasn't speaking to Epic. You understand? And I weren't interested in that shit. I tell you that straight. I wanted all the records. So I was talking to everybody. So Mervyn used to admonish me. I used to get into lots of trouble with Mervyn. And Mervyn would be like, why are you talking to the Northwest Side? Because they got the Jay-Z record and I want that. You chatting about? I'll do it. Can you do? And he would be on a thing of, oh, can you do all of them? Yes, we can do every single one of them.
Yeah, but explain the Northwest Side thing. Can I understand that?
So Northwest Side was, again, another label within the distribution of BMG. Yeah, Northwest Side was run by Nick Raphael and Christian Tattersfield. Christian Tattersfield went off to do 14th Floor and amazing things. Nick Raphael, JLS, whatever. You understand a bunch of stuff. Nick.
Not Black Records.
You know what? Can I shout out Nick too? I got to shout out Nick. I'm gonna shout out Nick because Nick was one of those guys that I think that if we didn't have Nick Raphael's support, we wouldn't be there as long as we would. You understand? He loved what we did and he let us rock. I mean,
garage,
everything. He let us rock. I mean, he signed Jay-Z. He signed Jay-Z pre-Jay-Z having any Def Jam D and whatever. Yes, you're hogging up the mic.
Let me control it.
So pause that as well.
So Nick Raphael signed Jay-Z prior to Def Jam signing them. The two albums, the Hard Knock Hustle, Hard Knock Life, and Can't Knock the Hustle. He worked those. We weren't there for Can't Knock the Hustle, which was a shame because we would have made that definitely top 10. That was a huge
sample of Melissa Morgan,
huge. But we didn't have that. But then we got the second album and we got Hard Knock Life, and I'll never forget that because we mailed that out and we did our thing. I mean, they had a sticker team on it. We did our sticker team on it as well, and then.
When you say sticker thing, what do you mean by that?
I mean, we're gonna get. You're gonna talk about that a little bit more. Sorry.
We mentioned Puffy, and I know we're gonna come back and mention him again. Steve Rifkin hasn't been mentioned.
Yes. So Steve Rifkin ran Loud Records. The reason why is because we can't mention Steve that much. Is unfortunately. And he even
you
felt.
You mentioned Wu-Tang and you said you can't mention Steve.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because Arista and RCA weren't speaking to each other, so we did not physically work that record. It had nothing to do with that record.
Was Swing in there, mate? So rest in peace.
Yeah, Swing. Rest in peace. Yeah, he was.
DJ Swing.
At that time.
We replaced Swing.
Right. Okay.
We replaced Swing, and it was acrimonious. And we'll leave it at that. But God bless him, brother. You understand what I'm saying?
So remember, Set the Trend podcast. Like, share, friend. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram.
Come on. So with Steve, so we couldn't work the Wu-Tang Grand album and stuff, and then it all got lifted because word of mouth then started to do all of the urban product for BMG, everything. So everything, and remember Lucia came in with us and whatever, and that's when we worked TLC and all of that. So what happened was RCA, we started getting all the Loud stuff. So we had the the Illustrious album, Mobb Deep album, we had that, Murder Music.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had the Murder Music album, and what happened is we had it super early, so we did a snippet tape and all of that. Yeah, we did the snippet tape and whatever. When that snippet tape, the ACS, that was a classic snippet tape. So what had happened, Steve had got wind of what was going on and the vibes and whatever, and he'd come over, but unbeknownst to us, he'd come over to really cross the T's and dot the I's on his Sony deal.
Right,
and he was taking all the records over to Sony.
So this was a restructure.
Yeah, so there's a restructure. So he'd come in and he thought it was going to be a farewell meeting, but he was sad. He was like, damn, I mean, now you got all of this in place, we could have really done some work. We had one of the best meetings I've ever had with any executive was with Steve Rifkin.
He was up to Dorchester.
Yeah, we went up to the Dorchester and we had a chat with him and whatever, and he was explaining to us about street teams. Now, in America, and I want to qualify this, the first street teamer was Loud. Steve Records, Steve Rifkin. And Steve explained the story for him that his father operated and owned Spring Records.
Home of Millie Jackson.
Fatback Band. And a bunch of other things. So what he used to do was he never had no
Who was his assistant?
family. I can't even remember that. I can't remember. Sylvia Rowe?
That album, go on.
Scott LaRock.
Scott LaRock.
Wow.
Damn.
I knew that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So he was telling us the story of how Steve's dad used to go in to the DJs, and you know, Millie's records were quite salacious. So he had to chat to them, saying, "Listen, fam, work this thing for me," and whatever. And it then became a thing, and he started doing that with all of his records, and all of his records hit. Unbeknownst to me, I just want to connect this to my dad as well. My dad, he had sound systems and stuff like that. And in the middle, me and my dad, you know, certain sons and dads sometimes have a strange relationships, and we did for a little bit. And we started talking about year 3 of being at BMG. And he explained to me that he used to pay the studios in Jamaica, whatever they cut, he would send them £50, yeah, and just they'd get in white labels or whatever they cut and whatever. And one of those records happened to be Dennis Brown, Money in My Pocket.
Okay.
And my dad was one of the first to he street team.
To champion that.
Yeah, you understand, he street team that record, he got it
So
out.
it was in the
whatever,
blood?
Whatever. Apparently so. A man never, he kind of worked it out, he explained that
That's
to
why
me.
you need to talk to your dads more.
Yeah, exactly.
People out there, talk to your dads more.
Talk to your dad, do you know what I mean? Because you never know what comes up.
What could come up with.
What we're doing, what we done, and what we're doing, I was watching something on Tesla yesterday, and Tesla are having a lot of problems right now because they've invented a way of the electric car to be sellable, but now all the other major car companies are saying, boy, I can make a money in that, and they can't keep up. You understand? And we could keep up, but that's what literally happened to us as a street team. And that's what I wanted to explain the whole everybody else. Everybody would literally phone you guys and say, what are the men they're doing? What, they mailed out a record to you? Oh, we're going to start mailing out records to you.
Yeah.
Are we going to, you understand, like things like, so we had a free run for a long time. So by the time you guys came in and we did Afro Hair and Beauty, you understand?
Was that the year that everybody was taking everybody's stickers down? And I remember
No, this was
you guys
before that.
there.
This was, we were doing these things like
years before
years
you guys
before.
were
Like,
doing
this was now becoming a process. So we
Yes.
had, the first thing was to mail out the records. Then it would be the sticker and poster boarding campaigns. So we then target events and places where black people that would buy the music would be. So things like Afro Hair and Beauty, there's a lot of black people going to be there, all into this music. We got to put all our poster boards up there so that people can see that.
And I also remember you guys coming to our gigs
Yes.
and giving us records and CDs to give
And
away.
tapes and stuff like
We
that.
also would come up with a deal where we'd trade off you promoting an artist on our flyers. So we'd go out and promote your artist on the back of, so that was another credibility way of getting that. And plus, it paid for some of our flyers as well. I'm saying to you,
So
it
we
paid
were
for us to work.
supporting the streets. And we was even taking out adverts on Pirate Radio, which you shouldn't have been doing.
I mean, no, not like
A major
DTI,
label.
not a major
Yeah.
label. You understand? And we were paid by the BMG finance department. I mean,
We're getting our lawyers on that one.
let me tell you something. Look, I got in there, and my thing was this. Yeah, these motherfuckers are gonna give us some shit back straight. Yeah, I'm sorry to say it like this, but you all are going to give us back something. For all the money you've made out of Michael Jackson and whoever else, you understand, we're going to get our thing. And for that, we're going to make you hits. You understand? So it was a trade-off, 100%, but it had to be a trade-off, and you had to, for me, BMG had to give back. And I don't want to say it was just a black community, because I would say as well the Asian community did a lot for us. You understand? Turkish, you understand, did a lot for us as well. You understand, in terms of the reception to our music. You understand? And knowing and understanding that at these Asian raves where we think they was just playing Bhangra, no fam, they were playing hard and raving. You understand?
We had to jump through some hoops at the
100%.
record company. because we had to make it corporate for them. We had to create marketing plans, we had to do reports on everything. So we weren't just going out there and doing all the street stuff. We had to make it, we had to then turn it into something that they could read and understand what was actually going on.
Justify your existence, in other words.
And
Yeah.
the spend.
There was justifying the existence and there was the spend, but also they needed data. They needed,
Metrics that they could work
needed a credible source that could actually say to them, listen, this record works, that record doesn't work.
And
You
actually,
understand?
I attribute it back along the channel to where it came from, so they know, well, this record works there, this is how we...
I mean, if anybody's watching and they've got a marketing background, we were like a focus group.
Yeah.
But we're a very large focus group,
Yeah.
you understand? And we weren't in an office room and it wasn't 16 guys around the table and said, what do you think of this product?
Yeah.
No, we actually tested the
live,
product outside, straight, in the clubs, on the streets, with the schools, in the colleges.
So my first experience of understanding that this had a massive impact was the #1 we had with Donald Jones, You Know What's Up. That was my first experience to say, like,
We work. we work. It works, yeah.
And that was what, Players in the Hood?
no, this was
No,
you know,
no,
you
You
know
Know
what's
What's
up.
Up.
Yeah, it
You Know
was
What's
#1.
Up.
So
What's Up.
at this point, R&B is now big, right? It's established as a genre. It's big. Donald Jones, this is his second album. And at this point, you had to have A-list Radio 1 to be in the top 10, right? That was the process. That was the industry standard. If you didn't get Radio 1, it was like, do you know what, this is not going to be hit. And we had You Know What's Up, and Martin especially was just like, no, we're banging this. This is a banger. This is a hit. But our radio department couldn't get it onto Radio 1. So we had all the specialists playing it.
Why do you think Radio 1 didn't take it before you guys?
Because they didn't have anyone in the position.
Shush.
I personally don't know. I wasn't.
No, but why do you think so?
I think it did end up. I think it did end up on Radio.
But it did
1.
after the fact.
Yeah, it did.
No,
That's after it's #1.
Always after the fact.
So why?
Do you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So-
Okay. So it could have been that someone just didn't see it.
Yeah, they just
okay,
didn't see it.
Cool.
Donald Jones wasn't a household name. He wasn't a big artist.
I kind of want to blow that up, and I'm
Okay.
going to.
No, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Don't worry. We're
I'm
gonna get
telling you
there.
from
Go
my
on.
perspective. So this, I'm coming
No,
to
you're
this thing,
right.
yeah.
No, you're entirely right.
And so we're like, no, we're gonna bang this. So we had the poster boards was going hard on that, the stickers going hard on that, and Pirate Radio was, especially on Pirate Radio, to bang it for us and keep banging it for us until the release date. And when it came out, it was #1. So everyone's now looks at us like, well,
I think we did.
that was for
Just-
me, that was the point where the industry saw the power of the street team.
Yeah, especially, and I'm gonna just qualify that a little bit more. Two things. Just after that as well, so we put out the single, then the album came out. I think that album ended up from a #1 single, definitely went gold within that month.
Right.
You understand, and went on. I didn't think it hit platinum, but it went on to sell a lot of much. And you gotta understand, Donald Jones's album before that might have peaked at about 30,000 records.
Yeah.
You understand, and you've gone from 30,000 records to near platinum on your next
what's
album.
platinum?
But platinum is 300,000 records. Sorry, Reggie. But I wanted to qualify a few things. We did get Radio 1 on that, you know. I'm going to tell you why it was unusual. It was unusual because Donald Jones was nobody. Like, when I became a marketing manager, I understood that, like, especially when you get into like marketing spends, and I was doing Cassidy and things like that, and I'd be like, you know, I'm sitting next to the girl who's doing Britney Spears, and her budget is like 2 million, and I'm like, so how much you want for Cassidy? I said, well, I need about 100, you know. Do you know what I mean? You go, well, you could get 10. 10 what? 10,000? 10,000, 15,000? All right, I'll give you 15. That's all I got on Cassidy.
And that's when, I suppose, me and you had many conversations later on down the line, and one of my favourite phrases was like peanuts are for monkeys. And
No, and I would always disagree with Michael, because I would always say to you, but Michael, hold on, yeah? You've run a business, yeah? You run a business, and you've taken on a new product, yeah? You have a product that is already sold, your Heinz, yeah? To catch up, gets all your money, fam. Come on, the big TV campaigns and everything, because you know the ketchup sells. You understand? You've now done a new mayonnaise that's got a little chili in it. Blood. That first you got to sample it, see if it works. You understand? If it works, then you've got to kind of put the minimum spend into it.
Yeah,
you understand, and work out ways to get that to a bigger audience. You can't be having the same budgets.
You as an expert, you know where to market a record, and you know what you need to market different types of records.
Yeah. So why didn't the other labels just get experts? That's my argument.
But you was the expert.
I can't be one expert, fam.
But that's how the industry works. That's how the industry is. You're the only one that
I refuse to believe
on
that.
black records.
On this note, I mean, what did you guys do in BMG itself within the internal structure of it to help change the perception of the street and what the street
We
represented?
worked hard.
I think we worked hard, and Jasmine's role was important in that, being the person based in the office. We're on the road.
Yeah.
So if Jasmine wasn't there, they wouldn't even know that we were even working. They'll be thinking, "Oh, these guys are just out partying all the time." So we're on.
She was.
But,
baby brother.
But it's like with anything. It's like with anything, yeah. Nobody ain't gonna
But
just
just
give
to
us.
say, hold on.
as I
But
was
just to
saying,
say though, Redz, there were club nights on 7 days a week at that
100%.
time. Yeah, just to say
So,
that.
we
Yeah.
had to be at
100%.
kind of put me under the bus.
I knew where I was going. I knew where I was going.
So we were out, and Jasmine was in the office, so she was in there 9 to 7 probably.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And the meetings and stuff, Martin and Jasmine were the people going to those meetings and being the face of the street team.
Yeah.
So she's coming in with all the documentation, like this is how much people we've hit, this is where we've been up and down the country this week. These posters we hit here, here's the pictures.
Be some pictures, but I kind of want to believe as well that some of our product managers and marketing managers knew.
Yeah.
We was out there. They'd walk past it.
Yeah, but they still-
they'd
No, but
walk
they still
past
needed
it.
some-
Understand?
but
Yeah.
what we're saying
But we
is like-
100% needed
In
that
the
paperwork
industry,
trail.
like-
We needed that paperwork trail.
In
No
the
doubt.
industry side of it, that was important for us.
Yeah, key.
Because that gave us that license to like, no, I don't have to come into office at 9 o'clock. I can turn up about 12. Do you get what I'm saying? Because Jasmine will be there. Do you get what I mean? So that was the important part of it. And like we say, it's justifying the kind of existence to a degree, but it's just quantifying what we're doing and trying to show the value of what we're doing.
One thing that always got me, obviously I come from the street sound background and stuff like that as well, and I had a similar kind of like understanding, Supertone, Roadshow. So basically, so I remember being in the record shop and thinking exactly the same way as Martin, which is, look, do you know what? There must be a way to make these records better, and which is why I pursued to try and get into the label side of things in the market. And once I tasted that, I realised the same way as you guys. Oh my God, there's a bigger world than Hotty Wednesdays down in Brixton. so what I wanted to get is like what I couldn't understand in coming into it with the street team thing was the amount of competition, like the amount of backbiting between each other, and I thought, well, you know, we would turn up to put up poster boards and stuff like that and have conversations between each other. And I was thinking to myself, what's this about? Why can't you take one lamppost, you take another lamppost, you put your flyers here and so forth?
I think it's the
And I
pressure.
noticed there was
I think it's a lot to do with the pressure.
Marketing.
And
Being the best.
yeah, everything Red
So
said.
would you say?
Everything Red said, but I think a lot of you guys, I'm no disrespect in it. I mean this in a not a disrespectful way at all, but a lot of our competitors realized late, that we were going to do our thing regardless. You understand? And the reason why we were going to do our thing is because we had nothing else to do. You understand? I was always nervous about my position and about my job. I'm not going to lie to you. I was always on tenterhook. I had the attitude going into BMG, we are the black crew. Yeah, they want to get rid of us, so we've got to keep on selling these records. We've got to still keep on selling these records. So our work ethic, you was going to be very difficult to beat our work ethic.
I was external, so I was a different, I was enhanced and external. So what was kind of like I would say your only competitor at the time was Semtex at Sony. You know, what was that relationship like? Did you guys ever work with each other in any way or talk to each other?
It was a terse relationship, and it still is. It's a terse relationship. We
Okay.
still don't talk. We still. Hold
like
on.
this.
I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid that we don't talk. I think it's stupid that we don't whatever. But it is
it was
what it is.
competition.
Why,
But-
did you and Semtex why did you and Semtex fall out then? What
Because
was that?
Sony, I'm not actually gonna just carry on and just blame John. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a lot of factors. I think that Matt Ross, you understand, and Sony and Columbia, and I respect Matt. You know why I respect Matt? Because Matt wants to win, but I want to win too, innit? You understand what I'm saying? And let the best one man win, innit? You understand? But
how did that go? But how did that relationship then come down to you and Semtex? Why?
Because
why
Semtex was my direct opposite.
We got to understand
You
this. There's only one #1 spot, right?
Yeah.
So if we've got a Alicia Keys album out and they've got a Lauryn Hill album out, we want that #1 spot.
Yeah, but
So-
then the DJs, my concept was like, we were all sending
He's making use right now because he quantified it. It's fine. We just can't come out with it. Yeah, you just can't come out.
I would say 100% that was a Sony thing. Like, because for me, I first of all, I never cold called any of like Raymond and none of them. Yeah, I'd send them a record. Yeah, I'd hope to God they liked it. If they didn't like it, I wouldn't hear it played, and they would say, "Boy, Martin, I can't deal with that one day." You know what I mean? Like that happened with Lisa Left Eye, that
Lopez,
Supernova album.
Or another level.
Because I found that, especially when you spoke to certain street sound DJs and people like that, you know, they would come back and say, "Oh yeah, but this person's rocking it rich now. I don't want to support your records." I used to think to myself, "What's going on here? Is somebody getting paid some money?"
Honestly,
I think at that point, like going with something like that, it then comes down to relationships,
Right.
with certain people. So if our relationship with a man is a strong one, and we're saying, bro, we need you to play this. It's like, we know it's shit, but we need you to play it.
Can't do it, sorry.
Then they'll either say yes or no.
But you know what, Redz, I'll be honest
Not
with
playing
you.
it.
I'm happy because remember, half of the meetings that I'm going into, I'm not afraid to tell
Yeah, of
a
course.
whole team, listen,
It's not
this
right.
record's rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to run. You understand? And you know, obviously they'll get angry and whatever, but you can't vex me into making a hit. It's not going to happen. You understand?
Two things here where we're talking about an artist that I want to bring, because people might not know this, that you guys probably were the first to do and responsible for. So this bit you wasn't. DJ interviews, bringing the artist that we were playing to your DJ or your pirate DJ to come and actually have a sit-down interview to talk to the artist, to get the 10 minutes. You remember we used to get 10 minutes? Out there in 10 minutes, you know, asking questions. 10 minutes? Yeah, 10 minutes. And obviously for us DJs, it was like the beginning of dreams, because the only time you ever heard of someone getting interviewed was on Radio 1, was on a Capital. It didn't come down to street and pirate DJs so much, and you made that more accessible.
Yeah,
you know what I
because
mean, to us.
we had to fight for the legitimacy of the street. You understand? We had to explain to them. And again, in BMG, people like Alex Crass, I must give a lot of respect for that, because Alex understood what we was doing, and she would give up time for the artists to come. She was exactly. She was head of national promotions and probably the most powerful woman within BMG. You understand? Because she was the one who got your record on Radio 1.
So that was one. Two, which I was a part of.
And then the other part of it was the numerous American artist managers who got what we were doing instantly. Because remember, in America, you have a college network.
They understood America.
You have a college network. They understand the underground.
So you told me that story before I go to the second part, because that was actually the second part, but you told me the story about Brandy's manager, which was her mother.
Wow, Miss Norwood.
Yeah?
Miss Norwood, yeah.
So what did she
I'm
say
not
to you? How
calling
did
her
that come?
Sonia, fam. Miss Norwood to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, understand.
What did she
Yeah.
say to you about the importance of street team? And
Miss Norwood was managing Mace, and at the time we were doing, I think maybe Double Up, or I don't know which, was it Double Up? Yeah, and he was also on the Top of the World record with Brandy and whatever. And she's a lovely lady, she's quite stern, and I was very scared of her. Yeah, so she didn't say much to me at all throughout what we was doing, and we might have taken Mace to some record shops, we might have taken Mace to do some freestyle somewhere, whatever. So we've gone to the hotel, and I've set up the pirate interviews. So she asked me what pirate interviews were. I explained them to her. I said, you know, they're for the underground and street DJs and whatever. She goes, okay.
And the radio stations at the time was like your Baseline, FM.
Baseline, Lightning, station and whatever. Yeah. So I had
West London. You had what was over West? Unique at the time.
Unique. Cool. Mikey Coos.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mikey Coos, who's the wasn't he the first to let us bring? Yeah. He let us bring 112 into the studio. You understand? The man was very funny about. Come on, DTI was always after you and.
So you brought 112 into the studio.
Into the studio to do the interview, and he's probably got the best 112 jingle ever. Okay. Anyhow, so moving on. So what was I talking about?
You're talking about the young lady, Miss.
Yeah, Miss Norwood. So Miss Norwood, she's there. She listened to the first interview. She stopped the interviews. She turned around to me and she goes, "Do you know how important, what you're doing is? No, do you really understand?" And she's a very stern woman, so I was shook. You understand? But she was saying good things, but she was with a stern face. And she was saying that this is how we sell our records. You understand? You know, I know they're gonna do us the other shit, the Radio 1 and all of that and whatever, but this right here, this is how we try, and I commend you for what you're doing. And I'm gonna tell everybody to do this with you, and I'm very glad that you're doing it. So thank you very much. And she never talked to me again.
So that was one. And two is, well, I was directly involved in those. And there were moments for me, right? So I never heard at that time of, yes, they gave them to radio stations, so you brought one, as you said, you brought one to a radio station, but you never gave an artist for a moment, for an audience with young people, for an audience with the college. I haven't heard of that. So I remember the time, I can't remember which was the first one. Was it Alicia?
I think Alicia was the first one,
no. No, it wasn't. No. First
Don't
one.
say R. Kelly.
That isn't even on our label. Anyway, that's Jive. Anyway, come on, Red. Still go with BMG.
But we didn't touch it.
So you weren't working with him, as you were the baby, you weren't working with him, no?
Let's make that clear for the
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry.
The first one, I think, was, it was a very proud moment for me because at that time, Tyrese. I didn't remember about Tyrese. It was Tyrese, but it wasn't Tyrese. I don't think it was Tyrese. It was a very proud moment for me at the time because this gentleman's record, this artist's record that we were playing, he was destined to probably be the biggest, to be the biggest UK, to be the biggest rapper ever. He was destined to be until he got shot. Notorious B.I.G. And I'm sure it was his mother.
Yeah, his mum.
That at the time, remember she was selling it was a Life and Death album, wasn't it?
Was it ready? It's not ready. I can't remember the name of that album.
Yeah, that album did. It was a double pack one, just as he got shot and he was ready to come out. It was Life After Death. It was.
No, she didn't work that. What happened was there was another Puff put together another album.
Born Again.
With Born Again.
Yeah.
And it was as an album of cuts and lyrics that Biggie had, and he put duets on there and so on and so forth. But his mother, Mrs. Wallace, promoted the album across the world on behalf of her son, and it was very emotional. Very emotional. She met my mum. She was a wonderful woman. Really wonderful.
We took her. I asked you because at the time I was working for Lambeth College.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
exactly.
So we had the audience. So we had young people and adults. So we got them into the auditorium, and was interviewing her mum, but it was, she was just so real. It was just so unbelievable.
Beautiful.
And that was one of the biggest moments.
Video footage from that.
I've got the video,
Put it up on set,
I am going to do that. I'm going to do that. I remember, and I had, I was interviewing her for about an hour. It was about an hour, that we had an interview. So it wasn't a 10-minute thing. It was a proper sit down and audience with her.
She was prepped. She knew. Like, remember, you got to understand. All these artists had an itinerary, that they would get from the label. We would put the stuff that we wanted in that itinerary. We would request the time, and we'd either get it or not get it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that was the first of. To me, that was the first of it, because no other label did that.
But I must tell you that all that inspiration came from Puff. 100% came from Puff. You understand? Puff was and is and will always be a man of the people. You understand? And he was not. Like, if we didn't come up with those kind of ideas, my man would get mad. You understand? He would get mad, but he would.
As well is that, like, the more we were justifying our position and the more hits and stuff we were getting, the more
responsibility
and the more time we got, and the bigger our ideas got, and the more access we had. Do you know what I mean? So I think one of the most important things, and Martin instilled this from early, was that we've got to give back to the streets as much as possible. Do you get what I'm saying? So having interviews was like the first part of that with the street DJs. Then doing events like this where we're bringing the artists to an audience with school children, college children, whatever, and talking to them, to the point where we were now going to youth clubs, we were going to these prison reform things when the kids, just before they go to jail, I mean, we're going and talking to these youths and saying, like, the things you're doing, you're business minded, and just showing them, like, you're hustling drugs right now, but you can hustle other things with your business. So we're just trying to show them what we're doing, because we're not roadman, but we're all from the streets. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and we're hustling here. But legally, we don't have to watch our back. We can go anywhere we want in the country. You can't even leave your area.
Raymond, I mean, Raymond, you can actually say, Raymond, that you broke Alicia Keys. You do know that, right?
No, I don't.
You do know that.
Don't give
so
me
let me.
I'm going to say it now.
I've actually got a plaque for that. You lot actually gave me a plaque for that.
Yes, and there was a reason why. I'm going to tell you the reason why. So you bought
my only plaque.
You bought so the street had embraced Alicia Keys already, and the album had been doing well on the streetways, but it was still very difficult at radio. Remember, I talked about that beat policy and whatever. A lot of Alicia's records are slow, so on and so forth. And it's a 1-2 punch. It was a 1-2 punch between the street team and the TV department. God bless Jackie Crave. Shout out to Jackie Crave, So what happened was, Alicia was on her 5th trip. To get Alicia Keys over here was literally at least 100K, a lot of money, because she came with full band and whatever. You know these in-market things. Exactly, and you remember when, they can only stay in the Groves Node. You understand what I'm saying? So Dorchester, it's a whole heap of money being spent, So, and Jed really believed in Alicia, and he you're like 700K in the hole right now. Like, it's really deep. So, it's the 5th trip. Everybody's like scrambling things to do. So I'd spoken to Raymond, and Raymond was on this thing of like, bring her down to this school I got in Catford, man. Where, this, that, the third. Fiona Ramsey was the product manager at the time. She'd done a deal with Kerwitzel, the piano makers. So she was like, well, we'll add in this and give away some pianos. So we were talking about it in a label meeting. Then Jackie Crave, the TV lady, was like, I could get TV news down there. So I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, it's Catford, And I was like, I'm saying that.
Forest Hill, Rockbourne Youth Centre.
It's the roads, kid. Like, you sure about that? Like, you know what I mean? They'll be all right, but let's try. You understand? Let's try. Why not? We got her down there. London Tonight went down there. They publicised it on the TV. The next day, Radio 1 called up and said, look, this Falling record, let's look at it. The rest is history. The rest is history. And
That's why you got black.
That's why you got black, fam.
You know what? I didn't know that
That's
to
why
this
you
day.
got
You know?
black.
I didn't know that today. I am black.
That's why you got
Me and Ray are having conversations. Obviously, we have conversations, and that's what I was trying to explain to him. That, you know, a lot of the things that the catalyst for a lot of things that happened on a mainstream level happened from the street. Happened from the street sounds. It happens from, you know, the underground, the pirates and people like that, and that was the importance.
Do you still see that happening now, or is that?
Well, the kids are just taking over. Their kids do their own thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Social media has changed that.
Change that element, because they can get closer
social
to them.
media, the internet has given them their own freedom. Do you understand
And their
what I'm
own
saying?
access into the
Whereas
art, yeah.
YouTube is, what is it? It's just a tool.
So-
They've just put it up there.
So
You
with
do what you're
social
doing.
media, do you think there's no need for a street team now?
Nah, there's 100%
always
need for
need for
street.
street.
There's always a need for street.
Hand-to-hand marketing
Yeah.
is the best you can get.
Yeah.
Always will be. Word of mouth street marketing is the
And
best.
no matter
you can
what,
have.
no matter what, like I watched it with Skepta and them when I was doing Shutdown. You understand? And it was actually going to places like Box Park and shutting it down. You understand what I'm saying? And like that's the thing. Like I'll never forget that because I phoned Jammer, yeah, and I kind of had tears in my eyes because I was so proud. I was like, that's the thing, Jammer. That is what you need to be doing. Go out there and meet and touch and feel your audience.
So
you
is
understand?
there a new street team in place, or you guys still doing
There
it?
are still
They're still doing it?
they're leafleting guys.
Yeah, you got ambient marketing people who do stuff, but
Who's that Morpheus street team and
Diabolical
stuff
still
like
doing
that?
stuff.
You
The
understand?
Flying Squad's still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still important, but I personally feel, well, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, how did the internet change the way that you connected with the street sounds and people like that when it came into play? Obviously, you had MySpace and Traceable.
Well, there was a point where the
Facebook.
music became digital because at one point music now with the downloads and all that kind of stuff that came in and the internet, that was kind of the death of the street team in a sense where the label now are quantifying numbers by looking at this advert has been seen by 50,000 people and we've paid X amount for it. Why do we now need to create physical t-shirts, posters, all the merchandise and stuff that we were doing before giving out to people, which was important? They're now seeing it as, well, I've just paid £200 and 50,000 people seeing this.
But everything now's about money, innit? And they can
And
save
that's what,
money.
yeah, the money. So the money was drying up from sales, so our budgets are getting smaller and smaller, which gave us less to be able to physically do. Even
What
to
was
the
your
point-
typical budget before you left? What was you working with?
I don't know if did I have a budget like that.
No, you didn't. How your budget worked was basically we reported directly to the marketing team. So at any time, at any given time, we could be working 14 to 15 to 20 to 25 acts. Yeah, a portion of each one of those acts' budgets would come to the street team. So in all, you understand, it's quite difficult to quantify, but over 15, 20 acts, we might have had 30,000
So,
to
like,
play
one
with.
time-
You understand what I'm saying?
one time
But
I
it wouldn't be
remember-
given to us like that. It would be like, here's Tyrese.
Yeah.
You understand? I got $4,000 for you, fam. What do
So,
you mean?
for example, for that one carnival, we did a carnival survival pack thing. So we got a bag, a rag, a bottle of water, some
Do you
Rizla.
do whistle? do
You
do,
got 30
whistle?
grand. Hold on a second. You got 30 grand for some of the biggest artists. That was going on. £30,000
It's not a lot of
Over
money.
how many artists?
He spends more than that at night at the strip club. 30 grand. No, come on.
No, but this is
listen, I
an
gotta tell you-
accumulation of people. So so everyone's budgets will come into this thing,
yeah.
and so we pay for the banner to go on a float, and
No, but you're still talking 30k.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with
that?
Ray. It's no
What is
money.
that?
It's no money.
Peanuts or
It's
something.
no money. It's no money.
but this is what I'm saying.
I'm
We've
gonna
always
come
worked
back.
on.
I'm gonna come back.
So we've always worked.
But I'm gonna
from that.
I'm gonna reel it back for you and make you understand that it's no money. Do you understand? But that's a testament to how we work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not knocking that.
Listen,
No,
we're not knocking
but
that.
also, sorry. Again, it was how a label would perceive black music.
Yes, that's
Do you
right.
understand
Listen,
what I'm saying?
listen,
Remember,
listen.
we got to understand, and a lot of it's quite easy to say it's racism. It's actually not. Yeah.
So what
It's
you put it
actually
as?
not. I
Well,
put
if
it
it's not
as
racism.
this. Yeah. You can't expect a white guy from Buckinghamshire, yeah, to understand anything about what we do. Yeah? He eats roast beef and Yorkshire pudding on a Sunday. That's his life.
Yeah.
We eat rice and peas and chicken on a Sunday. We might see each other at work, yeah, but we don't have anything that
How do you know he
interlocks
eats
us
roast beef on
together.
a
Trust me.
No, how do you know?
Trust me. He might not have it. He
No, but
might
you
have
said
a bit of
you
lamb.
know.
He might have a bit of lamb. You understand? He might have a bit of pork. You understand? Either way, he's not eating it in the way that we eat.
But hold on.
You understand?
Okay, but hold on.
Yeah?
But okay, so
And we are a minority within this country.
I get that.
You
But hold on a
understand?
minute.
Yeah?
But hold on.
And what our job was to make them understand that this minority music that you have actually can be mainstream.
Right.
You
So
understand what I'm saying?
before
And
EastEnder goes at
remember-
you. So before hold on.
Yeah, because I know you were going to jump on
No,
me.
so pause. Because before before I let the dog go over there, right?
Yeah.
Before I let the dog go, you're talking about Puffy came and told you. How much was his label worth at time? How much millions?
He
did that
started.
make?
Let's start.
No. Hold on. What I'm trying to and what I want to get to is that you are promoting and marketing records, yeah, that have got budgets of how many millions of pounds, yeah, that are A-star artists, yeah, for those labels. They've come over to here and they want to make some of that money in the UK, yeah, which they've got a contract to do because of the distribution and the label.
Exactly.
And they've said to you, so you've got some of the biggest, we've mentioned some of the artists that you've got at any one time, yeah? And they're giving you 30 bags, please.
And
30 bags.
And there's not 30 guys for one act.
That's what I'm saying, 30 bags for a cost, please.
And before you answer that, Puffy came in, back to your story earlier, and he came in and he spoke and he said, look, I want to have the #1 label.
And remember it.
And when he said that, he was saying it to you, but he was also saying it to the industry, to the bigger heads, the big person.
He wasn't talking to me. He was talking to the bigger heads.
Yeah, so I'm just making it wasn't you he was talking to. So you trying to get extra money shouldn't have been a problem because the boss says, look, I want my label to be #1.
But they could just come in, come in because
Yeah, because he's having a
Jasmine,
Django.
okay.
Because he's having a Django moment at the moment. So go on, Jack. Go on, Jack.
I know that not just me can explain this. Jasmine can explain this too.
It's about profit and loss.
Right. Thank you, Jasmine.
Basically, our effectiveness was that we could spend the least amount of money.
Peanuts for monkey and get
To
the
get
best
the
result.
and
And
get the biggest result.
result.
Yeah.
Which meant profit.
Well,
We were basically
Hold on,
funding those bigger projects.
Damn,
They
boy.
were actually like in debt. Those
yeah,
projects.
I get it, and I understand.
Who was in
and-
debt? Who was in debt?
So I'm saying like the big pop acts, like they'll be spending so much money
And
that
losing.
they'll never get back. But they're the ones that are perceived as the successful acts.
So you're saying that we...
Really
Remember what you done? You done was it Soul Searching, Brad?
Soul Searching,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Soul
Right.
Searching, I
So
remember that.
we would have 10 artists talking Raheem DeVaughn, Angie
Scott.
Stone, not Jill Scott, Jill
Babyface.
Soul,
Jill Scott.
Babyface,
It's a nice
Andy
combination.
Hamilton, all these people's albums,
Yeah.
and we had to create like
A
a whole campaign
On-
and call it Soul Searching so that all of them could get some shine.
Yeah, it's the most
You get what I'm
cost-effective
saying?
way
So
to
we're
do that.
working 5-6 albums at the same time off the budget of one
Can I
album.
just say why though you had to do that? Why? Because where the pop act would walk straight into Radio 1, the soul act would not even be heard.
No, and
Do you
I'm not
understand
having-
what I'm
I'm
saying?
not having a go at you guys, you know.
No,
Okay, so
no,
what I'm saying is-
because I'm going to
Wrong
put
way.
something in now that's going to make it even worse.
Not
Yeah,
really worse.
I'm going to make it. No, not this is going to make it worse.
wanna hear
So
this.
about 4 years in, we're part of the firm. We're part of the furniture. We're there. We're in. Yeah, and from time to time, you would get people coming in who research music. We had a gentleman coming from Nielsen. I will never, ever forget this day. We all know what Nielsen are,
Yeah.
right?
We do, but
Sound scan.
So Nielsen's are the ratings agency for, I would imagine, TV, entertainment, music,
And they tell you how
radio,
much
so on and so
viewers,
forth.
how much
And they
listeners
tell
you
you
got.
exactly how much viewers you have, and so on and so forth. So I'll never forget, because I saw the guy outside and he was talking, and he looked at me and he's going, "Yeah, that guy." I'm like, "All right." Gone inside, gone in the meeting now, and he's like, and he was literally, this white man literally was pleading to BMG. He goes, "Look, we've gone to this is our data. This is the data that we found on music, yeah? The most requested and listened to music in this country is R&B.
And when was that? You're talking about
Yeah,
when?
this is 2002, 2003. Yeah, as short a time ago as that.
Yeah.
He's
So-
gone in there,
and he said that.
and he does this speech to all 5 of the major labels. He's gone in there to all 5 of them. He goes, please, you understand, invest more in the urban. You understand, the things that your street team, your lauded street team have done are amazing. You understand, and the housewives. You understand, the you know, that kind of second adopters, as we would call. You understand, the people that literally just have normal jobs and whatever respond better to a Donald Jones. Do you understand? Other than, amuse. You understand? Because that in their head is easy listening too.
Okay, so
you understand?
go on,
But
Lisa.
Radio 1 consistently never took that advice. And Radio 1 always took what they felt as...
This is BBC that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's the
British
BBC.
Broadcasting Corporation. So you're telling me that someone as independent as Nielsen, who they listen to for every other act,
Exactly.
for some reason they don't want to listen to black acts. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what
So,
I'm saying.
okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's exactly what I'm
so
saying.
are we saying this is why we find ourselves in this position? Why?
Yes. Yeah.
Why
Yes,
there's so
that's
much
why-
frustration amongst the black or urban community, or the culture that supports soul music, R&B music, that
In order
they
for
don't wanna
us
put
to
the money
be
in.
relevant, it's going to be better for me to make sure we're taking a little bit of money and giving them a big bite of profit. You understand? They'll listen.
Because it's funny, because MTV does the same thing. MTV Base, like, you know, it's just launched not just launched, but when it launched, it was like, yeah, great, we've got a new channel. Didn't have a budget.
No. No.
People making these programs with no money and getting good returns on it.
Huge returns.
For nothing.
MTV Base, yeah, Base.
Any money.
Base was making MTV2 and the Rock Channel look like idiot.
On no money. Not spending.
On no dough.
So when we get these new things, I think, great, we're going to have new presenters, we're going to have this, we're going to be like America, but we just do it on...
No. And the reason is, I think there's still justifiable reason for that. You understand? I think
Making
that
something out of
unfortunately, I think that now with UK acts becoming big, yeah, I think that now you're going to see that investment that you're looking for.
Yeah,
And the
hold on,
reason
but hold
being-
on, yeah.
It's been removed now. The radio barrier's been
Yeah, but
removed
what
now.
we're saying is that there's been
Well, it's a whole
how many
generation had to
years?
go for that to happen.
So what we're saying is that there've been how many years of neglect and persistent, and a culture that was there, and what it wanted to do was stop the growth of black music. It could only be to that.
Well, to
because
me,
Not
to
even
me,
black
like,
music, I'll say black people in the industry trying to make a move.
I keep on saying this, yeah. I keep on saying this. It's almost like a lack of understanding as opposed to stopping. Yeah.
Yeah, but
when they understood, look, when BMG started to understand black people, they employed more. When I told you when I left.
Martin, no, Martin,
Yeah.
hold on. I get all that. What I'm saying is that you've just said it your own mouth. The gentleman from Nielsen, he came in, he told them, this is where you should be planning for your budget to go, because in the next 3, 4, 5 years, this is the next biggest thing. Now, if anybody else came and said that to you and said how to grow your business, you would put money into that and saying, this is where we need to invest in.
Can I say
You're
what
telling
he
me that never happened.
No, it did. It did. Do you know what happened? The word urban came into it. This is where urban came from. You now got to understand is that even in HM, I remember going into HMV one week. You got the R&B section, you got the hip hop section. Da, da, da. I come in the next week, it's urban.
Urban, all of it.
Right? And now you're all in the one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So that word, I hated that word because I can see what
literally
you're
do
doing.
it.
Because now, anyone that makes, if Justin Timberlake, white guy, okay, his music's good and all that, but he's now an urban artist, just like.
Did the
Wu-Tang
budgets
Clan
get
is
big?
an
Did the
urban
budgets
artist.
get bigger for
No,
the urban?
and no, not necessarily.
No, not
For
at
certain acts, they might have. Yeah.
At all.
Like Justin Timberlake got the big boy budgets, but
Why did Justin Timberlake get the big boy? You see,
He's a
you're
pop-
not.
he's a
but
pop-
you're
he's
not.
a pop act.
Yeah, but
Do
you're
you get what
not.
I'm saying?
You're not.
Yeah, but he came from
All right,
NSYNC.
but I'm trying to.
Which is one of the
thank
biggest
you.
selling
Thank you,
raps
Reggie.
in
Like,
the world.
you got
So
to
we had
keep
to-
on. You're not looking
Yeah.
at it from a label perspective. You're not looking at it from. This is a cold hard, just white man. Yeah, he don't know. What's Justin Timberlake done before? Oh, he was in NSYNC. What was he did before that? He was in the Disney Club. Oh, shoot, yeah. I
You're
don't
saying that.
Hold on.
Please
Let me
one
finish
second.
mine.
I'm going to say one thing before
Yeah.
I'll let you carry on. You're saying Justin Timberlake. You're saying NSYNC. Remember, they're signed to who?
Jive.
Remember, R. Kelly was on that label.
Yeah,
making him a bag load of money.
Yeah.
Before he went well. At the time he was going well.
Tribe Called Quest was on there.
So they know the culture.
Okay, all right, bro. I'm gonna say this again, innit? They don't know the culture. They could have these acts signed. Do you think they're listening to an album? No,
they're not listening to the album, but they're listening to what makes them some money. Tribe Called Quest made money.
All right. Tribe Called Quest made money in America. Yeah. Tosh never got it over.
Well,
I don't want to dish. Anyway, let me not.
He
Because
did his
fam,
best.
yeah, fam.
But
You know that's something
Kelly
deep.
was a big artist here, right? And he never got the budgets that he would have got in America.
Well, what happened was, remember R. Kelly became big in the early 90s.
I Believe I Can Fly.
Do we,
No, we did none of that.
do we have to talk about R. Kelly?
We're just using it as an example. We're just using it. We're just using it.
No, I'm talking.
We just use it.
No,
Just use
no,
it. What happened though?
one
But you see with Jive,
I'm talking
yeah?
Jive, not
Jive, remember, were a British label.
Yes.
You understand? Made here. You understand what I'm saying? Jive then went to America, signed small things that became
big.
Massive. You understand what I'm saying? But Jive in England,
Did you say
they were
massive? I've never heard that word before.
Yeah, you heard that for a word. It's an H, it's an A colloquialism. So, so what happened was
You did have some use then.
Jive, as we worked in BMG, understand, we worked all the labels apart from Jive. We couldn't ask Jive for any product. We couldn't speak to Jive. Tosh hardly used to chat to us. You understand? Like
that was internal politics.
And then we had to buy them. We had to buy them. You had to buy Jive.
Yeah.
The man who owned Jive said, "I've had it."
Sold it for billions.
I had this little clause that meant that when I'm done, you have to buy me what going rate is now. And it nearly bankrupted BMG because the going rate was crazy. They had Justin Timberlake, NSYNC, Britney Spears, R. Kelly. $3 billion is what he got. Yeah, and the biggest, and not to mention the biggest gospel label on the planet. Yeah. So literally, man had to fork out some money, a lot of money. I was really happy about it.
But the point I was making was black artists was making money
In America, yes.
in America.
But
In
not,
America, yes.
but not in the UK.
Not here now. Not here. But
I think that word urban is what they use to encompass and commercialize black
and
music.
package it, and so that when UK acts who were white or whatever wanted to do the R&B or whatever, you can now be in a part of that thing.
So let's say there's a difference between racism in the industry and not knowing racism.
Yeah.
So they're just
To a certain
culturally
degree.
ignorant.
Yeah, of course they're culturally ignorant. Because I don't know a lot about like spinning and Morris dancing. I don't know nothing about that. You understand? That's the madness culture. You know what I mean?
If you was in a position in a record company, you'd find out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%.
You would lose that ignorance and try and find out.
100%.
So no one wanted to do that towards black music.
No.
Sorry to
For what
digress.
reason?
For the reasons that most English people, most white people don't communicate with black people. Fear of a black planet.
On that note, sorry to cut you, but it's very much linked. As the street team, you guys weren't just going to black events though, were you? Because I remember you DJing, obviously you had a Smooth Connection DJ unit, and you guys incorporated the whole process of selling black music at the time to a middle class audience.
So when I got to that, sorry to cut you, Redz, because you're going to be able to say exactly what you want to say after this. When I got to that was quite simply, I have to tell you a secret now. So Matt White must have asked us to do some promotion for him for Boys to Men.
Matt White, formerly Kiss FM.
Kiss FM was at Universal all the time. That we was at whatever, Catch a Soul or whatever, Matt White. Yeah. Shout out to Matt White. He must have asked us to get out some leaflets for him. So we're in Basingstoke or something like that. And we're giving out Boys to Men leaflets. And a girl stopped me. She goes, oh my God, are they still a band? I forgot about, I love that song. I had to hear her sing the whole of End of the Road. Yeah, and so when she does, so when is this new album coming out? Oh, can I buy it? Really? I was like, it's there, just buy the album, go on. And then, but it just made me think, you understand, like Middle England is super up for this. They want this, they want to be a part of this, you understand? How do I now convince my boss of it. And it was only until Jed Doherty, I kind of wanted to qualify this because Michael's making me answer some questions in a certain way, and I have to say that there were some angels who Claire Dowds as well, you understand, was 100% behind what she was head of marketing for a long time, and then she gave way to Sarah Silver, who was head of marketing. Now Sarah Silver managed, sorry, I'm spitting all over the place, forgive me. She managed a group called Total Contrast. Do you remember Total Contrast? You understand? And she was literally part of the black music scene in the 80s. You understand what I'm saying? So she had a full understanding of what these records needed and what these records wanted to do. Matter of fact, to the point where sometimes, one time, Sarah got frustrated with a product manager that we've mentioned, but we won't go into it anymore. She got frustrated with him, and I'd come up with a plan for a Busta Rhymes record, Break Your Neck. Now, Busta Rhymes had started working with Dre, and the sound was a little bit different, and he was doing a little double time thing, bump your head, what was that, break your neck, whatever. And the record was dope, but I don't think the product managers were feeling it. So Sarah said, she read my plan, she was like, right, I'm gonna take this plan, me and you are gonna do this, Martin, and we worked Break Your Neck. I think we got number 2 or number 3, something like that.
Yeah, but that was the process of transferring somebody like Busta Rhymes and getting kind of like Joe Bloggs from Plymouth into that record.
You have to go out to them, man.
This was part of like, okay. This is where kind of like, I don't know, I'm not going to say I was the one that started it, but part of it was started from the flyer thing, right? So you've seen, we're sponsoring flyers, man are giving out flyers, When I first joined, Martin used to send, or he used to get us to send, because Martin never used to do the main house. We would be the ones doing the work. So, I've been there.
There were levels to this, right?
And I'm day two. Yeah. So, after day two, I used to have to do the
Sorry.
So we're mailing out bunches of like goodie bags, if you want to call it that, like 2 people in Manchester, Bristol, these places, and we're like, well, this guy's gonna do a party, we've sponsored his ad, we've sponsored his flyer, and we've given him stuff to give out. So with my DJ hat on, I'm like, nah, we can go and play at these things.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And represent the label and get paid for DJ. And
I get paid for DJ. No, I get paid for DJ.
I wasn't getting no money from Martin. You know what I'm saying? So I had to find some money somehow, right? I was getting paid very minimum wage.
No, you remember, like you and honourable shout out to Ricky Simon. You and Ricky Simon actually developed that.
Chili sauce, yeah?
Yeah, from Chili
So
sauce.
even
You
with Ricky,
developed
right?
that,
So, funny Ricky. So I've started to do this. So I'm going to Bristol and we're doing release parties now. So instead of just sponsoring the flyer, you're the hottest promoter in Bristol. Shout out Amy.
Hold tight, I mean.
He's the hottest promoter in Bristol at that time. And it's a very diverse market. So it's whites, Indians, blacks, all partying together. His venue was like 1,000 plus in there.
Yeah,
so
Syndicate. Was it Syndicate?
I can't remember what it's called now. So it would be, for example, it's the Usher release party, his album coming out. We then give him the flyer and call it the Usher party with the street team, Smooth Connection, coming to DJ there. And we'd go there and obviously bust up the place as DJs, which made it good.
And you were playing the street music.
And we were playing the street music
like the street sounds
to
would
these
play.
people
Yeah.
that heard it, loved it, but didn't really get that much of it in their towns, and definitely didn't get that much London DJs coming up there. And with the power of the van, so it was like a whole kind of experience.
Spoke about the van.
Do you get what I'm saying? The van was like one of our biggest tools.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tell us about the Trafalgar Square moment.
Oh man, we didn't have the van then.
We did have the van.
No, we didn't. We were hiring a van. We were hiring a van.
No, but
Tell us about the
I don't even know how to start that.
Is this the bad boy one?
Yeah, it's the bad boy one. So I don't even know how to start that. So
No, go on,
what
Aitch.
happened?
Let me hear it.
Do you wanna?
No, you talking.
Now he's lost his voice.
So Trafalgar Square was the first So what he's talking about, the first kind of rollbacks, or the first time we got to try and prove that, was in Trafalgar Square. So why are we talking about Trafalgar Square? So Puff had come over. Puff came up with this idea of wanting to do a mobile takeover. Yeah, that was the whole plan. He wanted to have Bad Boy. He wanted to. He committed to bringing in 112, Faith, Total, Mace. Even Shine came. Shine came, yeah. Shine weren't signed, like, he didn't have a record out, but he's come,
turned up.
literally, Shine just came on Westwood and did a freestyle, and that was it. It was literally most of Bad Boy. You understand? Just came over and he was like, yeah, I want to take over this black music.
We all remember that.
That was, yeah. Didn't sleep for 15 days. So one of the big things around this time, we were just eventizing the fact that Puff and Bad Boy were coming, and so on and so forth. And we did a big in-store signing in Trafalgar Square, and we had no access.
What do you mean in-store? You mean
in-store signing? So we had it was Tower, Piccadilly Circus. So what we did was have Faith, 112, Total sign their albums. You understand what I'm saying? I think we only had one bit of radio, Matt White. He allowed us to come. We took over his show. You understand?
Kiss FM at the time?
Kiss FM at the time, in Holloway at that time. We've gone to Kiss. You understand? We started playing some Faith albums. Matt was just like, you understand? Just play what you want. We just took over the whole show. We took over, and then we just promoted. We spent that 2 weeks promoting this in-store. The in-store went absolutely bananas. How many people did we have there?
Could be easy 2,000.
Was that just for Puff's artists, or was that including Puff?
That was for Puff.
For Bad Boy.
Puff wasn't even there. Puff, yeah, did the ultimate. I want to call it like an Awesome World moment. He did the illest. He came about 2 days before the mobiles. Yeah, and when he came, we were doing this thing in Brixton. It was an under 18s party. Was it a bigger? No, it wasn't Bigger Fish. The basketball was after. It was the time after. It was a choice. It was a choice under 18s jam. It was a choice under 18s jam. Yeah, it was a junior jam. Junior jam at the fridge, fam. At the fridge. Junior jam at the fridge. And
I didn't go because it's under 18s.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the best. Nobody knew. We were all, the street team were there, and that was enough for the kids. The kids were wilding out and whatever. We must have put on Benjamin's. Yeah, he was outside. That was leveled up. Oh my God, and one of my favorite plays. Benjamin's come out, so his verse comes on now. Yeah, and everybody's about to start rhyming that verse and whatever. Puff comes on stage, mad, absolute pun. But I mean, the music stopped. It was all just screaming. It was just screaming. He had to start the record again. You understand? And that is Puff. You understand? And that's what Puff taught us to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? And literally...
How was it like him, though? I mean, you obviously said a few words to him.
Yeah.
More than that. How was he like as a person? So when you... Did you sit down and you had a one-to-one, or was it in a room full of people? Did your team get to talk? I mean, how did that whole Puff thing go?
I am... Puff story for you, right?
Go on, you tell your Puff story. Is that the customer?
Yeah, go on, Redz.
But do you understand that now?
I understand it now, but it's not the point. At the time, I was vexed. It was all vexed. So Puff had a face by. Remember the magazine, The Face?
Yeah.
I know they were there. I can't remember if it was that party, but it's in Café de Paris in West.
It was a party for the Forever. It was a party for the Forever album launch. Yeah.
So we're outside.
It was very plush.
We're all in these Puff Daddy boiler suits.
What, the shiny ones?
No. We didn't have that kind of budget. Remember the budget? These were just blue, and we had printed.
First off, shout out to Caroline Watson.
Shout out Caroline Watson. Right? So that's a moment. So all of our street teamers are all in that. We all got placards, walking up and down. Kind of, it looked like we was picketing. But it's had a moment. All these celebs are going in A-list. Models, actors, actresses going into this party. So then we're like, are we getting it? So mine's like, yeah, we're getting in. Cool. So we go in, and we're there. We're in the party. This is very, very plush. Puff is on the dance floor dancing with like.
Who was the DJ?
Who was the DJ?
Mark Ronson.
I didn't even know.
Mark Ronson was the DJ.
I just say that we
So-
never got an invite to get in there.
No,
certain
you do know
things
this. No, but you do know this, though, right?
This,
Street
it weren't that
DJ
kind of
didn't
party.
even get. No,
I
what
was
do you
in
mean?
there.
I can dress up too. What are you talking about? I can look
I
like
was
an
at
A-lister.
that one. I was at Capital
Yeah, but you was a journalist. That's how you got in there.
Michael
You
used to
was.
rock the press plaster.
It was a straight,
Yeah, I was in-
straight
I was
up industry party.
Yeah,
right?
listen this bit. Listen this bit.
But I am,
So
but I am
we-
industry.
What Ray don't know is that we used to do one party for you.
So we used to get the cheap one, yeah? We used to get the cheap one. All
We had
right.
the one. Anyway, I'll tell you. Yeah, so we was in this party.
I'm going to go back to
So
that.
there's a picture. I would love to find this picture, by the way. Puff is in the middle. We're all surrounded in a circle kind of thing, all with our boiler suits on. And there's someone taking a picture from above. And we're all there, so you can see this is there. At some point, Wolf, remember Wolf?
Yeah.
The security guard, the one who
Security
got...
guard, he comes up to Martin and says, "What's wrong with your street team, man? They're not hype." So we're like, we're not trying to be
Remember
hype.
the story? Go on.
We're
Yeah,
in this
we were
plush
trying to be
environment.
bougie.
We're
We were trying to
actually-
be nice.
You can't be bougie, man.
The girls, like, to the point where the girls that are with us, yeah, the girls that are in the team have all got like dresses underneath the boiler suit. They're trying to take the boiler suit off. You understand? And why? We're like, no, you got to represent. So they're like, oh, you guys ain't hype, rare, rare. So we're like, Martin's like, you don't have to get hype, man. That's exactly how he said it.
No. That was it.
That is me. But in combination. with
No,
that,
he's
yeah.
got to finish his
You
story.
have to say this is what we were told by the boss. Be hype. All right, cool. Mark Ronson, now I know it's him, plays Master Bossy.
Yeah.
No,
What?
MLP.
Oh, MOP, sorry.
And it up.
So we jump over Martin. All of us jump into the guy mad. Wolf comes over. Y'all gotta get out. Puff said,
No.
you don't gotta leave.
Too hype.
You're too hype.
And I could see everything. I saw the whole thing going on. Wolf came to us. He went back. He was talking to Puff. Puff watched us while out,
Yeah.
and Puff was like, I could see in Puff's mouth like, no, they gotta go.
Why did he say that? Why did he say that?
Because Elle McPherson was there, Naomi Campbell was there, Naomi Campbell was just like, it was
Yeah, well, come on, Puff, man. You
A-list,
should have treated your street team better than that, man.
A-list, A-list,
You know,
A-list.
kicked out of the dark.
A-list, we got kicked out
So
of
there was another
remember
Puffy
it well.
party going on up the road.
that we put on. Our shit.
Big up Mark Ross, the boss.
Whole time Mark Ross for
in
real.
Emporium or in
Cark.
something like that.
Cark.
We went in there and just raved.
Yeah.
But before that, we was outside. We took down all the poster boards out.
I didn't leave that party.
No, you didn't, Jasmine.
You weren't in a boiler suit.
I didn't have to leave either. Listen, they came straight to me and it was like I had to do the leaving, innit? I had to do the.
And
Look,
Martin's
we
like,
gotta
come round to
go.
us, yeah, you don't got it. And we were like, obviously, we
It
don't
was
want
the hardest thing, but I had to do it.
Did you have any one-to-one conversations with him about the street team?
Not really. I'll be honest with you, not really. And actually, that's more of a compliment than anything else. Because he didn't have to teach us nothing. He didn't need to tell us anything. He had us. The boiler suits. You know what he said about the boiler suits? He goes to us, he said to me live, he goes, bro, I'll be honest with you. I can't give you the #1 street team, innit? Because that has to go to my street team back home. You understand? But you see this boiler suits? Blood, I'm teething inside there. You understand? And fam, it's definitely, you're my favourite outside of America. No
I'm sure
doubt, do you know what I mean?
he used one of those. You've seen his
He
videos.
did. He used it in a whole video, one of the Forever videos. He used it, the whole idea, the whole concept. When he saw us in the thing, that man just stopped and smiled. He couldn't believe
But he still
what
kicked
was
you out.
going on. He was going to get
Two-Face,
kicked out.
Puff your
The reality was is that he was politicking. You understand? And we
I understand
made
that.
it a little bit rougher and whatever.
I just like to say though, this he's been quiet throughout the whole.
Mad quiet. I don't even know why.
But he is kind of responsible. He's your lieutenant for the streets. So for the street DJ sounds, this was. I think that he was the one that gave me the first call. I'm doing the list.
Yep.
And you've got to come over. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the tunes. This was it. And he was kind of like working the PR angle with all the latest editions, the Bad Boys, the DJ Wrighties, the Special Touches, the Studio Expresses, the company. He was the guy that was working.
Yeah, 100%, and that was the arrangement that me and him had. That you know, like I told you, him, Jazzy, they're my day ones. I've known them, so I know what they're trying to do. What they've got with New Attraction right now, you understand?
Main Attraction.
What they got with New Attraction right now, to be honest, yeah, and I want to give credit to Jazzy, Gunshot, Freddie, shout out Freddie. What they've Lolly, hold tight Lolly, and Aitch. What they've been doing, that is the culmination of at least 25 years worth of work, no doubt. You understand? Like, them man there was at the dances way back from Funky Jamaica Express, from them times, all the way up. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm be honest with you, I'm slightly younger than them. Not.
You look at. You
understand? I'm not that much younger. But I'm a couple years.
Don't try.
Yeah, I know. We're within the same community, yeah. But when you're 16. That's 18 is a big way away. You understand what I'm saying? And I was 16 when I met Jazzy. And Jazzy put me into a sound, he was 18. You understand? So you know what that meant. I played for like 6 hours. And then Jazzy would get the
money.
Exactly, the money.
Jazzy being like, what money?
He got nothing, ain't changed at all. He got the money and the glory. You know what Jazzy would do me? I'd have to play reggae sets, R&B, all of that, and then Jazzy would come in and play Rare Groove and done the dance. Absolutely done the dance.
Well, at least you learned your apprenticeship.
I learned my apprenticeship the longer, harder way. You understand? But it made me understand you guys. Yeah. You understand? And what you guys do and what it entails for you guys to do what you do.
What are you doing now?
Not much.
No, you introduced. The last time I saw you, you had what's the artist there? The English rapper. What's his name?
Jay Spades.
Jay Spades. You introduced me to Jay Spades.
Yeah, I did a little work with him.
And you gave me some credibility there. Yeah, you know, like you see, you give it Jay Spades, and obviously I took a picture with Jay Spades. Flung him up. You know what I mean? Jay Spades. I didn't know that. And it's only when he was breaking down, we was talking to him because his old man is.
Josie Wells.
Josie Wells is his old man. So we had the moment where we talked about the old dancehall thing and everything else, and then we come down as like, I felt connected to him because of that, you know what I mean? And then I put him up as like, Jay Spades, he's a bad rap. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Spades and Teddy and the crew. They're about to come out with some new stuff and whatever.
Bad time,
But yeah, they're doing their thing. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've been waiting for the right thing. I got involved in a lot of things after BMG.
What about BET? Wasn't that something you was trying to get into?
TVT.
No, BET.
BET, I mean, not really. I've spoken to a few people there and stuff, and I was having few talks, but I never pushed it on. MTV offered me a job when I was at TVT, but the records, man.
I got a question for you guys. So I don't know if everybody's seen the complex list of rap road MCs who changed the game. And
that's in conjunction with Red Bull, I suppose. Yeah.
Was it Red Bull?
Red Bull.
Okay. So Complex magazine, they put this whole list together, and it doesn't feature a lot of the older people are up in arms about the type of people they've got in there because they're more kind of like your Skeptors and your 6-7s and the news sort of stuff. What is your kind of like thing in regards to, because didn't you have your own label imprint with like Bronze and Black?
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you think that as much as you guys were a big force, we weren't able to break UK kind of like rap artists and people like that?
Funny enough,
just a little ahead of our time. Go on.
My first ever street team mission was for a UK rap group. What are they called now again?
Oh my God, Desert Eagle Disc.
Desert Eagle Disc.
Oh, I remember them. Yeah.
And
Jesus. Right.
I see their records in the £1 bar.
You saw it. You saw it.
they are.
You got a good memory.
You got a really good memory.
You have to understand, right? Let me tell you why I remember
That
this,
was
right?
so funny.
the way I got into the team was through my friend Tej. Martin is walking on road. Tej's at a bus stop. Tej's got a big mouth. He's the MC for Smooth Connection. He's got a big mouth chatting. Martin overhears him. They start talking. Martin's like, here's some records. I want you lot to come and do my street team. Get some of your friends together and come and join. Martin being Martin, we can't get hold of him for 3 months.
Yeah.
No, a year.
Well, a year.
Yeah, it was a year.
So then we put on our first dance at Smooth Connection, Christmas '98, Christmas Karamba we called it, in cameos, random. And Tej got hold of Martin and he gave us all this Whitney Houston product, tapes, pictures, posters and stuff like that. And so we're doing, so then Martin exists. So we didn't even believe Martin even exists at this point. So that February, I went to Trinidad Carnival. I phoned back home, speaking to them, man, and they're like, oh, we just went out with Whitney Houston, rest in peace. Did it in-store with Whitney Houston, took her to a club, and all this stuff.
Forgot about Whitney Houston, yeah. That was one party that I did get invited to. I got invited to that party.
Shut up, you came with us.
That's what I said, I got invited. Yeah, after getting with you lot.
I'll try it.
So at this point, why are we not
That was a wicked party.
That was a wicked party. Where was that again? Sorry, that was Savoy Hotel. Yeah.
So all my guys are there. So I come back to England like, I'm getting on this. I'm partying with Whitney Houston as well. Cool. So my first mission is going with these two. I've got college the next day, right? Going with these two to Manchester.
Was that your first mission?
That was the first mission.
That was with King Z, rest in peace as well.
God rest in peace.
In
God
the
bless.
Sense Arena.
King C, Janine. Shout out to Janine and her book that she just written.
The 3 of us rolled up, right? So mine was like, we're going to Manchester. We're going to see these people, Desert Eagle Discs, and come back. So I'm like, cool. I got college in the morning. I don't know where Manchester is. I'm just like, cool. Buck up in Holloway. Hit the motorway. I'm like, wait, this is far. You get what I'm saying? So as we get there, Martin's like, right, you have to come out, be hype when they come on. I know you don't know the music, but you got to be hype. And these two are big, aggressive guys. So we get inside, and as we've walked in, we've literally doubled the amount of people that's in the venue. There's an Eagle Disc come out. I'm like, what is this? I can't be hyped. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's happening. I don't understand what's happening. There's 2 guys just around us.
21 soldiers, there's 2 guys and a girl. And the girl looked like a guy. And it's
I
like,
just didn't understand what was happening.
It's all long.
So I'm playing, you lot have just done Whitney Houston. I get these guys. You get what I'm saying? Like, what is happening here?
So let's get.
So we're doing that. I'm not hyped. I come out, I'm thinking these guys are going to sack me and probably leave me in Manchester because I haven't been hyped. But then we went to a club around the corner.
I felt sorry for you guys.
And this is why. He took us to a club around the corner, and again, this was another eye-opening moment for me. I can't remember, I think in my mind it was called 21s. Walked into the club, and it's like a 2,000 capacity super club. We're in Manchester. This is hours away from home. And there's all these people raving to hip-hop R&B music. My mind was blown. I'm seeing white kids singing all these songs. I'm like, there's a whole country of this shit, right? Do you get me? And that's what opened my eyes to like, it's bigger than London. It's bigger than what I know as my world. This is happening all up and down the country. So
there's an Eagle Disc.
Sorry,
let's get back to some credibility. BMG, biggest rap artist, best rapper of all time. Notorious B.I.G.
Notorious B.I.G.
What's your favourite Biggie track?
I think it'll always be Warning.
You got Warning?
More money, more problems, isn't it? Was it more money, more problems?
More money, problems?
Kicking the door.
Kicking the door?
Waving the 4-4.
Skip me.
You know what? Just before, because we've got to close it now, but I just like to say, going back to Miss Wallace, I don't know if you remember, when I asked her a question, and she said, listen, don't believe everything that Biggie says in his lyrics. And like I said, what are you talking about? She goes, he's got lyrics where he says he eats sardines for dinner, She said, Biggie never ate sardines. I never ever gave him sardines for dinner. He didn't have that. I'm going because I have got it.
I mean, Miss Wallace is a proud Jamaican woman, so you know what I mean?
She was, man. She was.
Who else did we bring to you as well? Just
I know it was Tyrese,
Tyrese, we did
Alicia Keys, Usher, Chris Brown.
Chris Brown.
Do you remember Usher? You remember Usher? I brought him over to Newham College over East Sides, and I didn't do the interview that one. I got G Money to stand in for me and do the interview. So he did the interview for that.
Hold tight, G Money. Where's G Money?
He's in Kenya. He's doing fine. And that was the way.
G Money, man.
And I think that was accumulation of what you were teaching me to work with people in order to make the whole thing bigger, and it's not just about you. So I gave it to G, and G Money was on 1Extra at the time. So that was the 1Extra. Remember, we got TV down there too, you know, remember? We got TV down there, I think it was London
the Usher
Tonight.
Thing was big.
You remember that was big? The
Usher thing was big. I think the especially on Confessions, there was a trepidation, Because
that was slow jams. That was a slow jam.
100%. But there was a, unfortunately...
That's the first time we got a decent budget.
Yeah, but with Confessions, it started off 40, you know. Confessions didn't start off cool. So that's why, because they went with Burn first in the US. You understand? And it was like, Burn.
It didn't work for us.
Do you understand? And we knew that wasn't gonna work for us at all. And I think Jermaine might have sneaked out. Yeah, he might have kind of slightly bootlegged. Yeah, Jermaine Dupri might have slightly bootlegged. You understand? That's basically what happened. Trying to be nice about it. Basically what happened. And what happened is I'd had the A&R thing. The A&R thing, I'm not gonna lie, it never worked out well for me. Do you understand? I was in a silly deal. You understand? I had what I thought was hits.
And the A&R
So what happened was you went from street teaming
to A&R.
Where you were supposed to find artists. It was a finding artists thing.
A year and a half. You understand, in A&R, it was a shaky time. And then there was and then Jed, I was nearly going to lose my job. And Jed didn't want me to lose. He felt like I must have given him a marketing plan for the label when I was in A&R. And he was like, look at this fucking marketing plan. Do you understand? Put this boy back into marketing. So they put me into junior marketing. I did a Busta Rhymes. The Busta Rhymes and Mariah Carey record I did with Fiona. You understand? And then
Give It To Me. It wasn't called. It wasn't called that, but we call it Give It To Me. Give It To Me. I give it to you.
I know what you want.
Yeah, I know what you want. Yeah.
And then then they said, yeah, we're gonna make you a product manager. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. You understand? And they gave me all the black acts, everything. There you go. What you've always wanted. And I had Anthony Hamilton, and that didn't go well at all. And it was really scary. And then I had the Cassidy record, and then Usher came. Now, Fiona had taken the record, and then I don't know what happened, but she started with Burn, and then 2 weeks later, she come off of it, and then it came to me. And I thought they were booby trapping me, and I was like, what are they trying to really do to me? Then I heard and I was like, oh, yeah. You understand?
What, you liked it?
Yeah, me, I'm a b-boy, you know, I'm a hip-hop guy, so I love southern hip-hop. You understand that crunk? That was me, fam. I love that thing, you understand? So
I remember me and you sitting down, because Martin, at that point, when you had left, I think Ricky came in for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
it came in for a bit, whatever, and then it came to you.
So then I was down running.
Because you didn't want to take it. Anyhow.
There's a whole story around that.
A whole story.
We won't go into that.
Yes. Anyway, so me and you, I remember sitting down with you and we're like, right, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And we somehow had I don't know if you basically siphoned the money from somewhere, but I just remember having.
We're not saying. We're not saying it went into your own pocket.
Going back to the whole of what we've been talking about budgets, Remember, I told you about Justin Timberlake and what he had behind him. Now, so when Usher came with the Confessions, what did Usher have behind him? He had a trail of 3 platinum albums. Yeah. So he weren't getting 15 grand. He was getting thousands, hundreds of thousands. You understand, to promote that. So I had a nice budget. I was all right. Thank you very much.
I thought nothing. He was trying to steal it because I was just like, where's all this money coming from? Because anything I put in, it was so bad. But we went to New Era, remember, bruv? We got to deal with New Era.
Yeah. All of them things, them now appear no money. Like, New Era's coming to me. But hear what happened, yeah? It was so bad. I was so used to not spending money that then Matt Ross, and this is why I can't diss Matt. You understand? I can and I can't. Matt,
Daddy's here pink.
Yeah. Matt was head of R&B and pop, yeah, at BMG. He was head of us, you understand? And I was doing, so the albums come out, Confessions come out, straight in at #1, the album's #1, so I got the #1 album, single, whatever. We're large. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm just looking at the markers and the projections, and we're doing 35,000 copies a week. We're nice. We're nice. You understand? We're nice. That's the we're nice, man. We're nice. We're nice. No, I'm going to have meetings now. It's like so. Obviously, we got a budget where everybody can look into the budget. Yeah. So Matt's looking into my budget, and he's like, Martin, you're not spending no money. I was like, what am I spending money for? Well, I meant money. You understand? Spend. He goes, nah, man. You go, nah. He goes, listen to me. Usher's a black artist. The work that you've done over the past 2 albums with this artist, yeah, means that now he's gone from black to being pop. Yeah, you've got to start spending that pop money. He goes, first thing we're going to do, we're going to put an advert in Harper's and Queens. I was like, Harper's and Queens? Harper's and Queens is literally what you call in marketing ABC One. Like, that is prime time magazine.
Yeah.
It's still in print. Yeah, an advert in back then was £90,000.
What?
Yeah, full page.
So I'm like,
90 bags.
fam, I need a house. You understand?
For a quarter-page advert,
I need a house. Like, can I spend, He goes, no, don't be stupid, come on. And to me, he was right. Yeah, the statement that we make with that Harper's and Queens ad meant that he's arrived.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
This is your new king of pop R&B, yeah? Understand it, respect it, and know what it is. You understand what I'm saying? We did a Super 6, which is a really, really expensive postering campaign, which is the main lighted, advertised, main billboards. That cost, I don't know, maybe 100 and a bit. Do you understand? We spent money. I went to TV. I did my first TV ad on that with Trevor Nelson doing voiceover for me and stuff. And yeah, it was. So I went from no dough, innit? You know what I mean, on a my way to peace. Do you understand? And so that's what I'm trying to show you, that at the end of the day, from a business, let's forget racism, let's forget colour, forget all of that. From a business perspective,
well,
the
we won't
reason
forget
why
it, but we
won't forget it.
we'll
But
get it.
the reason why I respect our come up and the reason why I respect what we did is because we showed a major label, traditional major label, that, you know what, this is how you work it project to project, you understand, and we can now justify the money that you give us, the money that you spend.
And once you're there,
That
we've got to
makes sense.
salute like people like Robert Pascoe, who's now
100%.
you know, Twins,
100%.
all these other black now
100% Wendy
executives,
Cave.
people
I'd
that.
like to give a shout out to Wendy Cave. Wendy Cave did
yeah,
Eminem.
Wendy, yeah, man.
She was dope. She was with us for a bit, and then she went over to Universal and made Universal what Universal is for.
Listen,
my
I'll
opinion.
tell you what, it's been
You understand?
incredible to catch
Yeah,
up
and on
with,
that though, I know.
you
But I just got one last question to answer you. Look, you can just go around the table on that, on this question. I'm gonna ask you last, and let's hope that they've got their own tongues here. Do you think the street team have been given the credit that they deserve?
That's a straight answer, no.
Redz?
No, because we did a lot more than just, as I was saying before, like, part of our ethos was to give back to the community as well, and we did a lot of that.
To the culture, yeah.
To the culture.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, doing things from like the shop drops and stuff, giving records, like product, to shops that they can then sell for free. So there's no like, it's 100% profit that we're going in there with and giving it to them, especially at times when buying music was getting less and less. We're giving them product
For their own
to
business,
sell.
and those are small businesses, most of them.
Do you know what I'm saying? Independent businesses, and the DJs giving the DJs the music for free, and the interviews, the access, and all that. So hell no, of course not.
Aitch?
Definitely not. No way. I think even, I'll say it, Mervyn even fought us at the end of the day. I don't think Mervyn really believed in what we did.
I don't think we were supported by much black people
You know what I
at
mean?
all, to be honest.
You're
Sorry.
coming. I finished with you. Look, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Mervyn was meant to be our boss in it, but I think it only suited Mervyn when we had the hits. When he could have pushed us in a different direction, Mervyn was about Mervyn. like everything else. I mean, the only person I would say definitely big up Jamie Topham.
Yeah.
Because we went all over the country with Jamie. We went Ireland 14 times with Jamie. You know, silly little things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we did.
Jasmine, you was going to come back in there?
Go on, Jack.
No? Because you held the mic like you was all... Was you just ready to rap? Was you just going to begin with verse? Okay, so let me hand you back over for the final word to Martin Moulton.
Before you speak, I just want to say, I think you're absolutely right, not, because I think that the street team took a lot of people off the streets and turned them into business people, and also gave them a lot of careers.
And that too, man. Like we have to shout out people like Nicole
Richards
that came from
shout
the
out
street team
and became a product manager in her own right. She now works for Norwegian Airlines and she's like some
Roseanne.
huge.
There's people, listen, there's people everywhere. MTV, all over the place.
Roseanne was with us in the Roseanne was with us in the street team. Puff apparently gave her place in the street team. I always question that story, but I know it's true. But Roseanne left us and became an ambassador for United Nations, and we're really proud of Roseanne and her efforts and what she does. She does a lot of work for the Sudan right now, do you understand? And she credits us, and we credit her, we love her, you understand?
But don't forget Caroline Watson.
Caroline Watson, we just spoke about her, she did our boiler suits. She ended up our shiny suits. She ended up being a stylist for One Direction. You understand, and stuff like that. So a lot came from Lola Williams was head of press at Warner's. She was in our street team. You understand, many people, and I'm as happy about those guys as I am about the guy who left the street team, was inspired by us and worked at Carphone Warehouse. You understand? I feel like the juxtaposition is important. It's not just about who got the industry job, it's about just working. It's about the fact that
creating opportunities.
But I will, in answer to your question, no, the street team never got the respect that it never needed. And I think that the
biggest street team?
The biggest street team, the biggest or the number one?
The number one?
Yeah. BMG
of all time.
Come on.
Of all time.
Listen,
sitting around this table right now.
I just got to
set the trend.
Right.
Set
That's
the
what
trend.
we did.
We set the trend.
We got to understand about us. Like,
and Reggie's sitting here.
Like Reggie can say.
Reggie is a part of the whole thing with us.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't in your street team.
But
he ended up
in
our
day
street
2,
team.
he's like a day 3 or 4. But day 2, you got to hold that. But because me and Reggie ended up working together when he was at Sony and I was at BMG, and we merged. Like testament to the two companies. In fact, they recognised that both of us were good at what we did and had value enough to keep us both. Because any other time they would have got rid of one of us. But we were both them. And
I understand one thing. The reason why I'm saying that we were number one is because there's a lot of secret records that we worked that people don't know about. I'm just going to let you know about one. Ghetto Romance for Damage.
Damage. Yeah.
You understand? We mailed that out, we worked that record, it was a number one record. You understand? And we did, the EMI didn't have a marketing department that had any interest in urban. You understand? Or could do anything. They just did the rudimentary things that they needed to do. And we got a number one record. That's why, and I know no other street team can say that. You understand?
Yeah, we did street team.
And at the time,
I was going to say, I got the Adidas tracksuits from Matthew. What's his name? Matthew.
Who's that?
The damage manager at the time, Matthew.
Okay. I think, you know what, we had Adidas.
But I think we came after you guys, though.
I didn't get no Adidas. Although I remember getting some street team. I got the bad boy jacket.
Not street, again, that's something that we make sure the street guys got.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I used to wear that to dances, you know.
Of course you did.
Them times I couldn't really dress anyway, so you know what I mean? I pick up a bad boy.
But also as well, like other things that came out of it. Me and Reggie were.
We did so much.
What was the thing we done?
BBC One Extra.
That Chances program.
Oh yeah, TV program Chances.
Did you sort of do the one with Yanks, Bronze?
No, we done the one after.
Okay.
Which was with lyricists.
Oh right, yeah. Bloody
so
hell, we were like, in all of them.
We were like, kind of like, was this before?
This is way before the internet really took off, innit? And
I just, we've got to wrap up. So I mean, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honour. Definitely feel like I've been. Well, I have the journey that we've taken with this podcast. Each podcast has really shed light on the contribution that the streets made. It's also shed light on the contribution of, because the streets is just one thing on its own, it doesn't mean anything. It is proud moments like this where we sit around the table and we talk about what we created and the moments, which is why I say 5-star generals, even though there's only 4 of you. He can be a half. Can he be a half? because he was there. He was there later on. 4.5, 5.
You know, Reggie and me, like the first time we ever spoke to each other was on an argument thing. I went to the States to learn how to street team, and we were meant to talk.
So you went
about
to street team with Bad Boy. You was dealing with Bad Boy.
Actually, no.
No.
So I went to street team with Bad Boy here, and they weren't doing anything, and I had to learn what I was doing.
How many DJs was trying to get up in your DMs? That's the rude thing. Look at mine.
And I want man tool my mouth for talk to, you know. Couple my mouth for talk to still.
Right, we ready to go?
Yeah,
The one I remember, I won't even.
All right, cool. Where was this starting from again?
From that story, the Def Jam story.
From the Def from...
Yeah, America Def Jam story, I'll explain. So, I've this year, so 97, after all the big thing with Bad Boy and all of that, and
I've got to count it in. So, and then straight to him, yeah? All right. I think you're all that. Anyway, on 3 and then you can talk, yeah? 1, 2, 3.
So I think 98, we didn't have a lot of good albums out. Like the Brandy Top of the World album was out, and I would imagine, Sony would have had Lauryn Hill. You understand? It was a big, massive album for them. Yeah. I had Monica album, and Clive Davis made her do a version of Misty Blue.
I don't feel, I wasn't in Sony then.
Bex!
Yeah.
Is this what you hear me? Yeah, and they gave me a Locks album and said, there's a Locks album, but we're not releasing it. So I had nothing to do. So I'd gone to America to learn my craft. Gone to America. Bad Boy were in a state of elation. Like literally, they were having #1s all over the place. The street team just weren't active. Not in a bad way, but in a way of, we've done our work. What more do you want us to do? You understand? We're not out there. We've got bad hits, so we're celebrating, enjoying our hits. So I'd gone out, left Bad Boy for a little bit, just on the road. I went to MSG. I think Mary J. Blige was playing there, and I saw Def Jam Street Team. I saw them. See a youth with a poster just walk past me. I said, "Hey, we did, and just did what I usually do." Yes. And I collared him, and he was like, "I'm Skits." I said, "Can I join your team?" He said, "Yeah." "You're from London. How long are you here?" I said, "Well, I'm here for 3 weeks, but you know, go come in, whatever." And he literally taught me my real craft. I was under Big Les. He's a legendary.
Rob Love.
Yeah, Rob Love.
What label was that for?
This is for Def Jam.
Def Jam.
This is for Def Jam. But Big Les was, but you know, at Bad Boy, Super Mario was our head. You understand? So it was all legends I was around, and we just went out there and we just did work. I worked LL Cool J, Phenomena, that album. I worked an album from a really obscure hip hop group called Crew, called the Dirty 30. That album I love. And a couple other bits and pieces.
But you forgot that iconic moment, the Carlos Santana moment.
We'll get to that.
So before we close,
He wants to go there now.
We'll go there in a minute.
I think that's an important moment.
I know it's a favorite.
I don't want to miss it out.
I've impressed.
I've told you already. I direct. You know.
I just want to finish off this story so it illustrates what happened between me and Reggie. So I've come back now, and I've come back, and the guys at Def Jam really liked what I was doing, and they were like, "Yo, we'll send you pieces of what you want." I said, "Send me the Phenomenal record." They sent me that. They sent me about 5 or 6 boxes. I've gone out. I started promoting the record. So I think after my first phone call was from a guy from Merrick Crawford.
Yeah.
So he called me on some, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Martin Moulton. Who are you?" He goes, "Well, I'm Merrick Crawford." And this time, Merrick used to be on Choice. He used to do a few little things, so he was famous. I said, "Well, I don't care for your Canadian accent, fam. I'm working at LL Cool J. What are you going to tell me?" And I was rude like that, very rude, fresh out of Hackney, fam. So
Did you get that? So you got that direct from the US?
I got that direct.
Yeah.
I got that direct, and then you lot actually weren't that mad. You were just like, he's some fly-by-night guy.
I didn't have that impression.
Merrick.
I did say that.
and your Merrick worked for Jackie.
Yeah.
You understand? And Jackie, you know, nobody knew me. I was nobody. Jackie was doing Dance Wicked and all of that. Jackie, shout out to Jackie
Davidson put on a lot of people, man.
Salute. You understand? And somebody that I hope you can coax on Set the Train, because she's very important to the thing.
Unfortunately, she don't do this type of stuff, mate.
I just wanted to kind of say, I know Raymond wants me to talk about a lot of different things, but I really...
No, I just want you to talk about Carlos Santana.
We'll talk about Carlos Santana. So another record...
Before you talk about Carlos Santana...
No, hold on. No. I call the shots. Thank you.
No problem. So
You're listening to him?
we're talking.
Oh, there we go.
But we're just. I mean, Santana again was a record that literally the streets owned and ran with. Carlos Santana is an old rock legend.
With his guitar?
You understand, with his guitar, Black Magic Lady and all of that. But literally in 2002, something like that. And that he was old hat. You understand? There was.
What's the record called again?
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Maria.
Maria. Yeah.
Maria was a single. So, what I knew that Santana, you know, was a big dude. You understand? But this record was popping. So I put together a plan, thinking, you know, we're gonna work the record. Come to the rock guys, because I thought the rock guys were gonna do it. They weren't interested whatsoever. They were like, oh, allow him. It's old, you're gonna be working some old Carlos Santana, it's all fake guitars and it's all airy-fairy and it's all bollocks really.
You know he's a guitar genius.
He is a guitar genius.
He's the Don.
You know, at that time, you know, you got to think about the environment.
He wasn't relevant so much.
Blur was out, you know, Oasis was out, you understand?
Great pop.
You can't look at this old man compared to these New York rock gods from Manchester, do you understand? So anyhow, I still wanted to run with it, so I'm bugging Jed about this record, like, what's going on with this record? So Jed now is getting some pressure from the US, isn't it? Like, what's going on, because this record's popping up. So he's like, look, they're going with the Smooth record first in America, which featured Rob Thomas. They're not coming on Project G&B record for at least a year. You understand? Can your guys, I'll never forget Soraya, I had the conversation. Oh yeah. Soraya. Shout out Soraya and Wendy Ong, Live they made us. They believed in us. They were the ones that were like, they'd come over, they would work for the international team at Arista, and they'd come over and see us, and it'd just be buzzy with us. You understand? And they'd send us little records, and we'd get them up, and we'd get them like crazy reaction on the records. They'd be like, these are the guys. So they really championed us, and they were like, listen, this record ain't gonna come out for a year. And we're like, listen, the Pirates are gonna play it for a year. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. So I've gone to Raymond first. I think I went to Raymond first, and I said, Raymond, listen.
I think in this context it's fine.
Yeah. I went to Raymond, and I said, Raymond, I'm going to send you something. Listen to it. He listened to the record. He's like, right, the record is bad. And I said, listen, you have to play it for a year, though.
Well, I wasn't the only one. You can name the other two now.
Yeah, I'll name it. It was Goody and it was Ali. You understand? And Ali from Studio Express. Do I have to say that? Goody from Special Touch. Oh my God, do I have to say that?
Not well known.
All right.
We're trying to break them.
He said he was send it to you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, thank you.
Them three guys literally are the only people in this country to have the record, and they played it for a year. You understand? A straight year. And literally, a year for us is really 9 months. So 9 months later, you know, we could start the promotion. We got the video in. Video was amazing. And then we started it, and we got, what was that? Top 6, top 5 record?
Something like that.
Yeah, top 5 record.
Did I mention that I got Product GMB to sing my dub plate for me? So
No, you didn't,
I've got
but
that. So I've got the original vocalist on that.
Did they do it as part of pirate interviews that we
No,
set up?
I got it a few years later, but
okay.
but there's 2 guys who got it, and I'm one of them.
Did they ever come in and promote that record? I don't think they did.
Well, Carlos Santana did because he was here.
Yeah, exactly. But Product GMB.
But I don't think they ever came.
Yeah.
Do you know what, I've got a question.
No, hold on, no, you did, because that record went on to later be covered by DJ Khaled, Rihanna.
There you go. All right. So that means you're responsible
and Brian
for...
and Bryson Tiller.
Bryson Tiller.
So if it wasn't for the street team, if it wasn't street team, and if it wasn't for the street team giving it to 3 iconic DJs.
If it wasn't for Wycliffe for producing,
Let's not forget Wycliffe. Wycliffe's very important, isn't it? Shout out to Wycliffe. So there's the connection, bringing that right up to date.
Clef is actually a friend too, a good guy who we worked with. Unfortunately, I worked his project and it wasn't great. It wasn't great.
Yeah, but it
I'll
dropped
tell you
off.
it was funny. Jerry Wonder.
Jerry Wonder's legend. Hilarious guy. And I was very West Indian and nice.
I want to ask the DJs that we used to send records to. Why didn't you do the reaction forms?
Really?
I did the reaction forms
My brother.
when Jasmine phoned me. You just didn't have that clout, fam.
Sexism at its best.
But talking about Jasmine, though, I mean, you've done some amazing stuff, though, haven't you, in the music industry? A lot of people don't know about what you've done behind the scenes.
Jasmine's trying to do this hat thing, but let's
legend
talk to
right now.
Like Jasmine's still working within the music industry now. I guess we all are.
Well, how long
a
was
different
you
way.
in BMG Sony for?
15.
16 years.
Long
And now you've moved on to where?
I work for the Orchard, who are
Big company.
Big distribution company and growing. We've just moved to King's Cross, where the other labels are going to eventually be.
End up, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's 20 years in the industry. Yeah.
So, Jasmine, you should explain what you do. Please. Thanks.
So before I left Sony, I was head of release planning, head of label coordination. So I basically worked across all the labels, all the releases that came out of Sony, from One Direction right down to RCA's releases, everything.
So I laughed because I was like, RCA's releases are the R&B releases.
I didn't realise I did that.
To J Hus and these others.
But yeah, Jasmine is active today, and we're very, very, very proud of her.
Can I just rewind you back to earlier on in the conversation when we was talking about being on Radio 1 playlist, and it was very hard to. I think we should take this opportunity to congratulate Stylo G. He's just been added onto the Radio 1 playlist.
Yeah, Stylo.
And that come from the streets. That come from
record.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a great moment for us.
And I've got a dub plate of that too.
I think we're in a different.
Just saying.
All right.
Different era.
I think we're in a different place now. I think that
We are, but I think we still got
a long way to go. A long way to go.
But
Don't
you know
get it
what?
twisted. But I got to, sorry to cut you, Reggie. I got to give props to one guy, yeah, who throughout this whole Radio 1 conversation needs to be mentioned, honorably mentioned. A guy called Alex Donnelly.
Yeah,
Jones.
Alex Donnelly, yeah.
Now, right now, second or third time I've gone into word of mouth. Alex Donnelly Jones is
But
sitting
you got about
talking to
30
Mervyn.
seconds. You got about 30 seconds.
He's in there sitting, talking to Mervyn. And Mervyn's explaining that the street team are here now. What they're going to do is target the pirates. Yeah, and Alex was verbatim. I'll never forget him saying, he goes, let me tell you something. When your idiot radio pluggers come in, yeah, to plug me records that I've never heard of, you know what I do? I listen to the pirates. Yeah, and the pirates tell me exactly what's running and what's not running. You understand? If you're going to do that, that's perfect. And Alex Donnelly Jones, I think personally, changed the face of how Radio 1 is. After him was Georgia
Gatudis.
Who I don't think did that much. I think he just rode the train. You understand? And I think the gentleman after George Gatudis really did his thing. You understand? The Radio 1, I can't
Chris
remember.
Price is
Chris
now
Price.
there.
Yeah, and they really did their thing. And it's still got a long way to go, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but they were forced to though, because now streaming is running the cut. The most powerful person right now for black music in the UK, hands pound for pound, is Austin Darbo and Spotify.
Yeah.
Because the fact that he put Heady 1 at number 1 on biggest playlist on Spotify, and it went top 6, is it? Top 6 overnight. Same thing happened with Dave and Fredo.
Exactly.
It's a totally different game now.
But it
So hold
basically
up,
comes
Mum.
back to the streets have this influence on the commercial radio.
Yeah.
So it's very
Oh, yeah,
important
of
that the
course.
streets get the accolades that it's deserved.
Exactly.
And on that note, I'd like to pause and have this moment to congratulate the BMG #1 world heavy undisputed champion, holder of 5 belts, and the linear belts, as Tyson Fury would say.
I can't even say anything. Really and truly.
So,
I have to say. I have
so
to give you a lot of
congratulations.
credit.
Yeah, so
You know,
congratulations on
smashed
that. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for sharing your journey with us. I think it's something that needed to be documented, something that needed to be said on a reel, how you've contributed to the growth of the culture, how you've impacted on the culture, and how you've given back to the culture, and how you've given an insight into those above, how to work with us, how to connect with us, and how to make us all be healthy and wealthy.
Wealthy. Well done.
So thanks for that. Thank you for coming in. Salute to you guys. Thank you for listening to Set the Trend podcast with our esteemed 5-star generals in the venue, in the building even, and also those other 2 5-star generals, Reggie and Michael Fontaine. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Big shout out to our sponsors, 360 Escapism Media, the Windrush Bar, Punchline, the cool Caribbean drink, and
LVTV.
LVTV. Thank you. And Well Mag as well, our sponsors. We'll see you on another edition of Set the Trend very soon, so watch out for us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as Set the Trend Podcast. And look out for our family that are coming to you soon, which is Inside Soca. We have It's Our House, which is a house and garage. Creed and CKP will be hosting that. We also have we've just agreed another podcast, which is a comedian podcast to look at our comedians' travels throughout the last 20 and 30 years and see why there's not another. No, I'll leave them to explain that.
Yeah.
And there's another one in the works, so we're working hard here. So thanks a lot. Subscribe, share, like, spread the word. Peace.
Big up.
Big up, big up.